Now we are just a matter of seconds away from getting the action on this. Oh, once again, the water is being going on. I've said this to the top. It is so exciting when you know what's about. Now, there's some very exciting thing, that is, we've run out of time. We do not have time for trolling. We have no time for trolling. And it is contract with trolling aspect of our wrestling GT. We do that again tomorrow. Trolling happens.
Good evening and welcome to the Tollcross Swimming Centre here in Glasgow in Scotland in the UK. We are here for the second night of finals at the 2015 IPC Swimming World Championships. I'm joined tonight by Giles Long again for the second night of finals. Evening, Giles.
Good evening, Paul.
Well, the crowd are waiting the finals tonight. Of course, the qualification for those finals was this morning, and here is what we saw, some of the highlights from this morning's heats session. First up, Carl Forsman from Sweden, himself pumped up before the race there. He took out that very first heat of this morning. Igor Luchin of Russia chased him home in the men's SB5 100 meters breaststroke, but the man from Sweden, the European champion, touched first in championship record of 1:33.24, so a good way to start the morning. In the women's visually impaired class, Rebecca Myers from the USA is the world record holder in the SM13 class, and she stretched away from the rest of the field, leaving Anna Stetsenko from the Ukraine in second position. Myers looks in great form, and another championship record for the USA swimmer. She will be tough to beat in the final this evening. This young man, Carlos Serrano Zarate, well, a bit of a surprise package. The Colombian went away from the rest of the field in his heat of the men's 100 breaststroke for the SB7 class, touching first, and he will be fastest into the final this evening, but he will have the world record holder Blake Cochran alongside him. The Australian will be hoping to keep the young man down for another year. Bradley Schneider, the USA star from the Paralympic Games in London 2012, 2 gold medals to his name from those London Games. The swimmer swimming in the S11 class for swimmers with no vision took it out from the start, very comfortable indeed for the 400 freestyle, and that time of 4:41.3, yet another championship record for Bradley Schneider. He's hoping to add to his medal that he won last night in the 100 free. And last night, that is how we stood at the end of day one of finals. Brazil and the USA topped the medal table with 3 golds apiece. And Great Britain, the host nation, not a gold to their name at the moment, but they have hopes for tonight. They lie in 14th place after day one. Here's what we are looking forward to tonight, Giles. We start off with the 100 breaststroke SB5, move on to the backstroke IM, and we have breaststroke again in the SB6. A lot of breaststroke events tonight, a lot to look forward to. And the 100 freestyle for the men's S9 and women's S9, and move on. More breaststroke events, more medley events, and finish with the sprints tonight, the 50 freestyles S4. Of course, a range of classification, range of strokes, range of distances. A lot for us to get our teeth into tonight, Giles. This is the men's 100 metres breaststroke SB5 final. Swimmers out ahead of that first final. Carl Forsman, as we saw from the heats, he is world champion. He was the fastest qualifier in there in lane number 4. Igor Luchin was very close to him in the heats, but watch out for Lim Woo Gien from Korea in lane number 3, the Paralympic champion. Well, this is the SB5 class, Giles. Again, S1 to S10 for swimmers with physical disabilities, right in the middle of the classification range.
Well, that's right, and you can already see as we pan across the lane order, lots of the swimmers in this class use wheelchairs. Here's one, Carl Forsman, who doesn't. Well, look at that, he's ready to go.
What he did this morning, Igor Luchin as well, flexing his muscles there. Granichka, already a silver medalist last night in the 400 freestyle, finished like a train. Pedro Rangel, now the Paralympic champion from 2008, he'll have his work cut out to try and stick with the youngsters in the centre of the pool. Georgios Sapatos from Greece in lane number 8. But there is Forsman. He is the world champion. He is the fastest into this final. But the Paralympic champion from Korea, Lim Woo Guen, goes next to him in lane number 3. And there is Luchin in lane number 5. So danger all over the pool. But Carl Forsman from Sweden, starting in the water, Giles.
Yep, and there can be a mixed style of starts. You can start in the water or from a dive, depending on which you think is going to suit you best. Forsman down a bit in the centre of your screen there with the bald head, and he's going. You can see he's breathing every opposite stroke, and they're allowed to do that in these classes. That helps to keep their hips high, and if you can keep your body flat, that's going to help keep your drag down. But Paul, he's being held here by Luchin as they come into the turn. And Luchin, very, very high hip position. Look, his feet are almost breaking the surface of the water there.
Luchin going over these guys at the front of the field. They have no use of their lower limbs at all. It's all upper body, and Luchin is really posing the challenge now to Carl Forsman and Lim Guen in lane number 3, just a couple of lanes down here. The world record has stood since Atlanta 1996. Casper Engel from the Netherlands. Is that world record going to go tonight? Luchin is now being pressed by Forsman, coming back strongly in lane number 4, but I don't know if Forsman is going to run out of pool here, because I think it is going to be Luchin. It's Yuri Luchin from Russia. He's going to hold on, I think. Let's have a look at the clock. It's a very fast time. It is going to be gold to Russia. It is Luchin who takes it in 1:32.01. And it's gold for Russia, silver for Forsman for Sweden, and the bronze also to Russia, Granichka, who finished very fast, and the Paralympic champion from Korea is out of the medals.
Well, he's absolutely pumped about that one. I think this man, Forsman, doesn't really know what hit him. I think he thought he had that sewn up. Here we can see a replay of the start And Rankin there in lane 7 really epitomising this S5 class. It's got no legs, and a lot of these swimmers using all the strength from their upper body. That's generating their forward motion. Here we see the finish. He comes in and gets it absolutely full extension. It's exactly what you want to see.
Igor Luchin from Russia takes the gold. Forsman the silver. Granichka for the bronze. Well, just a little look around them at the end there, Luchin, didn't he? Looked to both sides, just in case.
Just in case, indeed.
The women's 100 metres breaststroke SB5 final. Well, the SB5 classification for the women's breaststroke has been dominated by a German swimmer, Kirsten Brun, the world record holder, won every major title over the last decade and more, Kirsten Brun. But it could well be another German who takes that mantle on.
Well, it's thrown this class wide open, hasn't it? I mean, it's difficult to see how the world records, I think, is pretty safe today. It stands at 1:33.85, set by Kirsten Brun in Eindhoven back in 2010.
Verana Schott, could she take up the mantle of her now retired German teammate Kirsten Brun? Annie Illis was second into this final. There were a couple of disqualifications in the heats, and that has left this final wide open. Julia Castello-Faré from Spain in 6th. Loma Sampaio from Brazil in 7th. Manuela Romano from Italy completes the lineup in lane number 8. Kita Raxo goes in 1 for Hungary. We saw her. Bjornsdottir for Iceland in 2. And Trinh from Vietnam could well be the first Vietnamese medalist at these championships if she is able to get into the top 3 position. That's Trinh in lane number 3. Verana Schott, Fanny Illich going from the blocks. Verana Schott being held by the German coach. Of course, the coaches can hold the swimmers in position. They can't add propulsion at the start.
Well, in contrast to the men's race, 4 out of the 8 swimmers using a dive start there, Paul, and that's quite interesting. That's something that perhaps 10 years ago you'd have seen much more of the field starting in the water. But already Verena Schott of Germany is starting to move in front. She's breathing every alternate stroke. That's, as we saw in the men's race just now, that's helping to keep her hips high. And it means that as those hands come together under the water, she's able to push them forward and make sure that all of that power is being used to push her forward. But she's being caught now and overtaken, or not quite overtaken. They're moving up on her.
It's very close as they come to this turn. It's what we saw Trinh do in the heats this morning. The Vietnamese swimmer went out very, very fast in the first 50 and was able to hold on to a good position coming back now, but she is going to be under pressure from the rest of the field, and Verana Schott looks very, very good. She has got a clear lead here, but there is danger all over the pool. Kita Raxo going well in lane number 1, a real veteran from Hungary there. She is in the mix, but Verana Schott now looks like she is going to continue the German dominance in this one, but the silver and bronze medal is really up for grabs. It could be Trinh from Vietnam with that yellow cap in 2nd position at the moment. Fanny Illich coming back for Hungary, but there are about 4 or 5 swimmers still in the mix for the minor medals. But here we go for the final 5 meters. It looks like it's going to be Verana Schott, the world silver medalist from 2010, is going to become the champion here in Glasgow. Verana Schott will take it in 1:51.43. It is going to be Fanny Illich in 2nd, and it is a medal for Vietnam. Trinh from Vietnam will get the bronze medal in 1:57.43. Verana Schott absolutely delighted with that one.
No arguments about which way the gold was going, but it was very, very tight, wasn't it, for silver and bronze? Just looking over at the scoreboard now, and only less than half a second. That was the start. Shot being held by her coach. And a very, very wide-ranging pull, helping to generate lift as well as forward motion. There's a bow wave riding in front of her. It's not a great finish in the end. She comes in on the half stroke, really should have stretched out. And there, just finishing behind her, is Trin.
Well, it looks like there is a disqualification in this event, and the top three are confirmed as Verana Schott, the champion, Trin from Vietnam, the silver, and Julia Castello-Farri, the bronze medal. The next event is the men's 100 metres backstroke for the S1 classification. Well, disqualification there, Giles, but that doesn't often happen at the major championships, but we do see it. We've had a few disqualifications already this week. And then for the next event are out the 100 backstroke. Golovko from Ukraine goes in lane 2. Tampaxis, the experienced man from Greece, goes in 3. Gennady Boyko in lane 4. He's a gold medalist at London Paralympic Games and the last World Championship. Anton Kohl for Ukraine in lane 5. And Dimitros Karapidis is the final swimmer in this one, the second week. Well, this is the S1 classification, Giles, the most severe disabilities in the Paralympic programme. These swimmers will be affected, certainly in all 4 limbs and in the trunk.
Well, Boyko in the centre, very much the favourite swimmer in this race. Sometimes these swimmers, as you can see here, will make it to their lanes, entering via the side of the pool. All of them will have their feet held onto the start end by their coaches. Just tipped in there.
Unceremoniously.
Unceremoniously, yeah. As he probably has been 1,000 times or more by his coach. And the coach has to just hold the feet and release when they hear the gun. They're not allowed to push or assist their swimmer in any way. And different styles. Some swimmers will start with their hands above their head, ready for the pull. Some will start with them by their sides, ready to do it over the arm. And already, Boyko, with that very limited motor function pull, he still does a really great job of bringing those hands over together. When you think of the coordination impairment that he's got, the way that he manages to bring them over, manages to get them in, really, I guess if you're thinking about the hands of a clock, manages to get them in at sort of 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. So not as you see an able-bodied backstroker, a classic backstroke style, both hands going in at 12 o'clock. They're both going quite wide. But importantly, they go in together, and because he manages to tip his head a long way back, that we're going to keep talking about it. That helps to bring his feet up, and that gives him much better streamlining. When you compare that to some of the guys who are further down the field, to Tampaxis and to Kohl, who haven't managed to achieve that same body position.
Have a look look at the turn here as Boyko goes over. Does a pretty good job of that at the turn, Boyko. World record stands at 2:28, so Boyko certainly on course for that one. Second position is Anton Kohl, his teammate from Ukraine, and Tampaxis in third position at the moment, but Boyko stretching away, and Ukraine have got a great record in the lower classification.
They really have, haven't they? Well, Tampaxis just out of shot there had an absolute shocker getting round the turn, and that meant that Anton Kohl of the Ukraine in lane number 5 really managed to open out his lead for the silver medal, going with an alternate backstroke style, but there's no one's going to threaten Hennady Boyko of the Ukraine. The Ukraine is so dominant in these lower classes, Paul.
Ukraine, top of the medal table at the European Championships last year, top of the medal table at the last World Championships. He is beginning just to tire a little bit at the end. The stroke is just getting a little bit shorter. He's still managing to generate that power. Keep an eye on the clock. The world record is 2:28.27. It's going to be very tight indeed. It's just slipped by, but it is gold to Hennady Boyko from Ukraine in 2:29.82. Anton Kohl follows him home, and he really closed the gap there in the closing stages as Boyko began to tire, and Tampaxis looks like he has recovered from that turn to come in third position. Christos Tampaxis from Greece, he's in there for third position, 2:55.27 in the bronze medal position for Christos Tampaxis. But Boyko, well, he wasn't really challenged in the closing stages, but he did close up on him slightly.
Well, his stroke started to break down ever so slightly in the final 15 metres. Karapidis and Golovko just finishing now. There's the winner, Hennady Boyko of the Ukraine, world champion. Possibly, Paul could have got that world record had he managed to really been a bit more disciplined with that technique for the closing stages of the race. Here's the start again, and really it was a strategy that paid off, having your hands above your head ready to do that first pull. I don't know why all the swimmers in this class don't employ that tactic. I mean, obviously they work at it and choose. In the end, the finish wasn't great. It perhaps could have finished on the full extension, but for these S1 swimmers, there's very much a trade-off between what they can do and the motor function available to them. Well,
when he set the world record last year, he went through the first 50 in 1:12. He went through the first 50 there in 1:08. Paid for that coming back. The results of the men's 100 backstroke S1, Hennady Boyko take gold for Ukraine, ahead of his teammate Anton Kohl, with Tampaxis in the bronze medal position. The men's 100 backstroke S2 final. There it is. We had Joseph Shalabi. He goes in lane 1 in this 100 backstroke final. Next to him, Pane Bratec from Ukraine. We're in the outside lane. The main contenders probably will be in the middle lanes. We did not have a heat for this one, so we're looking like this is the first swim that these S2 swimmers will have had here for this event. Makro Dimitris in lane number 3, just entering the water from the side. There is the man to beat, the world record holder, Dmitry Kokarev, in his 4th World Championships. 24, but he's had an experienced career already. Palmarachuk could be the man to challenge him. Jacek Czech from Poland in lane 6. Mirzoev from Russia in 7. And João Pina from Portugal in lane number 8. Again, Giles, the different starting techniques employed here. Coaches holding their swimmers on the wall. This is the S2 class, of course, and they have a little bit more function than the swimmers in the S1 classification.
Well, in lane number 3, Makro Dimitris makes his way back to the start to have his feet held on to the wall by his coach. Pretty much all the swimmers all starting hands above head.
Take your marks.
Well, as Paul said, S2 has slightly more function than in S1, and I think that you may have noticed from Boyko in the previous race that when he was getting out, we showed a shot there that he had virtually no movement at all in his wrists and in his fingers. And in this S2 class, still limited motion in those wrists and fingers, but just that little bit more, which enables the hands to go into the water and act like blades on the end of an oar, if you like. Because that's what you're looking for in swimming. Swimming's not about your hands moving through the water. It's about placing your hands in the water, locking them in the water, and pulling yourself past your hands. That said, we're looking at someone who's in the lead, who's absolutely just revving his way down the pool.
He is, and the man next to him, Palamarchuk, is closing up, and Jacek Czech also going very well. It has all closed up here as they go over at the turn, just 0.3 of a second separating the top 3 swimmers here, but Kokarev got a very good turn. That's taken him away from Palamarchuk, the Ukrainian.
Kokarev there, you can see as the hands come over, that right hand skipping out of the water, and that's going to be power lost. And just one lane nearer to us, Palamarchuk, although his hands go in much wider, each arm pull is much more efficient. He's actually getting quite a lot of lane wash from Kokarev next to him, but he is now starting to move on level terms, Paul.
This is going to be a great contest here. These two had great tussles in the European Championships last year. Kokarev very much the favourite for this one. The world record holder in 2:07.63. But it looks like Palamarchuk has got the better of his great rival this time. Palamarchuk is going to take another goal for Ukraine in 2:08.31. And Palamarchuk relegates Kokarev to the silver medal position, and Jacek Czech, a great swim there for 3rd position for Poland. But Palamarchuk, well, you're right, Giles, his technique saw him through at the end there. He had the best technique all the way through, and the over-revving of Kokarev just paid at the end.
Just burned out, didn't he? Here coming into the finish now in lane number 8, João Pina of Portugal. 2:44.67, an improvement on his heat time. Palamarchuk, well, it really was even pace that won the day.
It was. Jacek Czech, he's very pleased with that. I'm surprised that Palamarchuk not celebrating a little bit more there. He's absolutely exhausted there as he gets into the finish. Kokarev had a good start, but as they came into the closing stages, Palamarchuk,
well, and
Kokarev and Czech.
You can see there, look at Kokarev, how much his body goes up and down. That's all wasted energy. None of that is helping him to move forward at all. Palamarchuk, by contrast, the hands go in the water and it's so much more workmanlike. The hands really leaving that tube, if you like, the tube of the body to help push the water to the sides, and the body just gliding on through the centre of the tube. Kokarev bouncing all over the show.
And there is the world champion, Palamarchuk from Ukraine. He is absolutely exhausted, but he will be very pleased. The next event is the women's 100 backstroke for the S2 class. Just 4 swimmers taking the start for this one. Again, you might see some interesting techniques employed in this one. And there is the swimmer, first swimmer we will see, Agafonova. From Russia, Irina Sotska from Ukraine. In lane number 4, Ingrid Thunen, the world record holder for the S1 class. In lane number 5, Janet Adami from Hungary goes in lane number 6. As we see all these techniques employed for the swimmers, trying to make the most of the impairments that they have, trying to make the most of what they can use, the function that they have. If you have any questions on these, please do send in a tweet at IPC Swimming, hashtag Glasgow 2015. We'll try and answer any questions you have. Women's 100 backstroke, S2. Final.
Take your marks.
Is underway. It is a combined final. It's S1 and S2 classes together. They're swimming though for 1 medal. So it will be the top 3 here who will gain the gold, silver and bronze. We will keep an eye, of course, on the race and also on the S1 record, which is held by Ingrid Thunen of Norway in lane number 5. But Agafonova off to a very good start, and that is an interesting technique there, almost an inverted butterfly stroke there.
Well, that's exactly what it is, and she's doing it to absolutely great effect. And what I'm wondering is, can she keep it up? I mean, we saw from the last race there, Kokorev went out like a train, came back in a coffin. Well, she looks a lot smoother than he did. It's a very fluid. I mean, to be honest, it's a pleasure to watch. It's going to be interesting to see how she gets around the turn. Obviously, she's not using her arms, and so she's going to have to touch with her head, and that sometimes swimmers that have to touch with their head, they get a bit stuck on the wall because they find it difficult to spin round to generate the flick that they would otherwise have from their hands. There we go. Look, she's got. It's been an absolute disaster. Well, let's see if she can pull that back, because certainly in the actual swim phase, I think she's got the best technique going. But Sotska starting to come into her own now.
Yeah, she is stretching away. She has the power on the arms. What little function she has. Irina Sotska, gold medal at the European Championships last year. And she looks like she is stretching away here from the rest of the field. Agafonova holding on to the second position here. But Agafonova really feeling the pain now in those legs. She's gone in that inverted butterfly stroke all the way down, and she looks like she is not going to catch Irina Sotska, but she could well stay ahead of Ingrid Thunen. And Irina Sotska is going to come home for the gold medal, another gold medal for Ukraine. What a start that they have had to day 2 finals tonight. And here is Irina Sotska in that time of 2:17, just outside the world record held by her teammate Ila Savitska. Irina Sotska ahead of Agafonova. And let's have a look at Ingrid Thunen now. Can she get inside her own world record? I'm not sure she can. But Ingrid Thunen is now in a time of 2:37.52, and the final swimmer is Janet Adami. And she is another swimmer in the S2 classification, not the S1 like Ingrid Thunen. Her entry time was 3:01, and she swam a 3:02. Janet Adami. There's the winner, Irina Sotska. And as you take Giles, good spot. It was all about the turn.
Well, Alexandra Agafonova, if there's, well, 2 great positives that she can take away from this, is that that turn can be cleaned up immeasurably. Here's the start again, and you can see she goes straight into that inverted backstroke. Here's the turn. She hits it with her head, and she then kind of can't, you know, she's trying to do too much at the same time. She's both trying to twist and spin, and by the time she gets going again, well, she's just burnt up so much energy that Skotska just makes her pay for it and brings it home to win the race. Really very, very good indeed at making the use of what she's got.
Sotska takes gold for Ukraine, Agafonova the silver, and Thunen the bronze. The next event is the men's 200 metres individual medley for the SM13 class. Well, here is the big favourite for this one. Can anyone catch Ihar Boki from Belarus, a world record breaker last night in the 50 freestyle? He will be very much the favourite for this one. Kirill Pankov, the Uzbekistan swimmer, has qualified for this final. And next to him, it's the two Saleh brothers, Raman Saleh and Dmitry Saleh, the older brother. Dmitry Saleh, silver medalist in the World Championships, but that was when he swam for Belarus. We haven't had an Azerbaijani swimmer take a World Championship medalist, but here is the world record holder, Ihar Boki. Can he do it again tonight? Denisenko, second fastest into this final. He swam a good time in the morning, 2:11.66. Sean Russo from Australia will be hoping that he can get on the medal podium. He's been fourth position in a number of the big internationals in recent years. Sergei Punko, the experienced man, swimming for Russia. And Danilo Chufarov, the world record holder in the SM12 class. Of course, it is a combined event again, SM12 and SM13. And there's the world record holder for the SM13 class, Ihar Boki. He is going to be tough to beat.
Well, he certainly is.
There's Saleh, Raman Saleh and Dmitry Saleh next to each other in 2 and 3. Can any of them become the first Azerbaijani medalists at a World Championship?
Take your marks.
Well, Dmitry Saleh next to Ihar Boki was left in the blocks there. And Boki underwater the longest, but still up in front. Very, very smooth butterfly swimming. We've been talking in the S1s and S2s about getting that bite at the end of the hand in the water to help drive from the shoulders. And Boki using that to devastating effect. What's he going to go here underwater? He's allowed 15. He's probably gone the best part of 10 there. And they call the medley the lung buster because as you go onto the backstroke, you have freedom to hoover in as much air as you would possibly like. But then when you switch onto the breaststroke, you're back into a forced breathing regime. This is great backstroke swimming, Paul. So fluid and rolling and just great to watch.
He looks fantastic. As always, Ihar Boki. He went out that first 50 butterfly in 25.85. 57.6 at the turn. He's well inside world record pace. He's being chased though by Denisenko next to him, one lane down. And Denisenko trying to make some inroads on the breaststroke. Ihar Boki, well, if anything, the breaststroke is his weakest stroke, but it's not bad, is it?
No, it's excellent. Well, his breaststroke is pretty much equally as good, I think, as Denisenko's. Here he comes now. This is going to be the third and final turn as he comes onto the freestyle. It's snappy. It could have been better, but he's up first. And you can see there, as each time he breathes towards us, you can see him hoovering in that air. He's absolutely desperate for it, and he's certainly not easing back. He knows he's won this race, but he wants the record, Paul.
He certainly does. The record which he set in the last World Championships is 2:03.79, and Ihar Boki is going to be very close. 2:03.79. Oh, it's just slipped away again for Ihar Boki in 2:04.06. But the Belarusian swimmer was absolutely supreme. Denisenko gets the silver, and it's Dmitry Saleh who will take Azerbaijan's first ever IPC World Championship medal with a bronze. Well, Ihar Boki, he gave everything there, didn't he? He was miles ahead of the rest of the field and just couldn't hold it in the closing stages. Denisenko, who swam well for the silver medal position, 2:08.58, and there's Dimitri Saleh as well. He will be pleased with his bronze medal position in 2:11.33. But what about Boki?
Well, it's been a long-running rivalry between Denisenko and Boki, and the look on Denisenko's face there, I think he was just thinking, what do I have to do? Here's that breaststroke. The arms come up, dive over the surface and re-enter. And the finish, you can see about 5 meters in front of him, so you'll see the wall here. Ends on full extension. Just missing out on that world record.
Ihar Boki is the world champion from Belarus. Denisenko from Ukraine, the silver, and Dimitri Saleh, Azerbaijan's first world championship medal with bronze. The next event is the women's 200 metres individual medley SM13. Well, this is another combined event, Giles, with the SM12s and SM13s alongside each other, competing for one medal. Edo Beltran from Spain in one. Colleen Young from the USA swam a very good breaststroke leg in the heats this morning. And there is Hannah Russell, qualified in third position, the GB swimmer. What can she do? Can she get close to the world record holder, Rebecca Myers of the USA, who looked very good in the heats? Anna Stetsenko, the freestyle specialist, if she is in contention on the freestyle, she'll be a danger. Daraya Stukalova, 5 gold medals for the Russian in the last World Championships. Joanna Mendak, the 100 butterfly champion. And the final swimmer in lane 8, the Australian Tegan van Roosmalen. Rebecca Myers swam an excellent heat swim, 2:29.32. She was 3 seconds ahead of anyone else in the field. Hannah Russell qualified in third position comfortably from her heat, behind Myers and Stetsenko.
Take your marks.
Well, it was a great start from Hannah Russell in lane 3. She's up first. Hannah Russell can see just over a metre in front of her. And she is absolutely taking this out, but also going well near us. Stukalova with that white hat, breathing slightly to the side, Paul. The advantage of doing that is you get to keep your body flatter in butterfly, spend less time going up and down, more time forward. She'll see the wall about now. Good turn from her, good reaction, good streamlining underwater on backstroke. She's up, she slightly catches a crab with that first arm stroke, but she's looking fairly good, as is Myers and Russell in the blue hat on the far side of the pool. And in fact, Hannah Russell moving up now, I think, on the field, Paul.
Well, Hannah Russell is the world record holder for the S12 class in the 100 backstroke. Expect her to be strong on this backstroke leg. When they get onto the breaststroke leg, that could well be the territory of Rebecca Myers in lane number 4. It is Russell and Stukalova almost together, just 0.2 of a second separating them. Stukalova and Russell came out almost together, but here comes Rebecca Myers on the breaststroke leg.
Well, it was a great turn from both Russell and Stukalova, but as Paul said, it's Rebecca Myers moving up now. You can see just from looking at her breaststroke that it's just better timed. The power on breaststroke has to swap between the arms and the legs, and one has to feed the power chain into the other. And Rebecca Myers, much better timed than Hannah Russell on the breaststroke, but not much better timed than Stukalova in the white hat closer to us. Good rotation from Stukalova and better than Myers. Up quicker. It's going to be a fight now all the way home. It's about fitness now.
Rebecca Myers, she did absolutely fantastically in the heats this morning, came away on the freestyle leg, but Stukalova really putting the pressure on the American. It's the American Myers in the black cap. It's the white cap of Stukalova from Russia. It's going to be very, very tight. What a race this one is. It looks like Rebecca Myers is going to get it. It looks like it's going to be a new record for Rebecca Myers. It's a new world record time for Rebecca Myers, 2:24.60. She will take the gold. The Raya Stukalova will take the silver, and the bronze medal goes to Stetsenko of Ukraine, with Hannah Russell in 4th position. But there is Rebecca Myers, a world record time for the SM13 class, 2:24.60, and following her home, the Raya Stukalova, 2:24.86, a world record for the SM12 class. What a race.
Well, it really was superb pacing. The medley is about capitalising on those great strokes, on your best strokes, and damage limitation on your weaker strokes. And Rebecca Myers, well, she wasn't particularly great out the blocks, and she kind of got left behind a bit on the butterfly, but she managed to keep the damage to a minimum. It was this, however, it was the breaststroke. That's where she started making the rest of them pay. That breaststroke much better timed. The power from the legs enabling her to shoot her arms forward over the top of the vortex generated as the hands come together, and really just absolute grit there. Makes the mistake of breathing into the final 5, but in the end it doesn't matter because she is the world record holder and world champion.
Well, it was such a great fight there. Rebecca Myers was so strong in the closing stages. Rebecca Myers takes the gold for America with a world record time for the SM13 class. Stukalova, the silver medal, a world record for her classification, and Stetsenko, the bronze for Ukraine in a European record. Well, I'm told we're only going to have one medal ceremony in this batch, because the medal ceremony for the SB5 women has been postponed for a short while. There we go, Carl Forsman making his way to the medal podium. Andrew Parsons, Vice President of the IPC, assisted by
Director of Scottish Disability Sport, Anna Tizard.
Director of Scottish Disability Sport, Anna Tizard, someone we know well.
Absolutely, and a great swimmer in her day as well, Paul. Paralympian back in 1996.
And 92 and 88.
There we go. Don't forget, if you want to get in contact with us, you can on Twitter using the hashtag Glasgow 2015. If you have any questions, we will do our best to answer them.
Kronichka taking the bronze medal. Seen some great youngsters come through at these championships. Bodes well for a number of the teams as we move in to the Paralympics next year in Rio. There's Carl Forsman. Must have really thought he had a good chance to take the gold tonight. Qualified fastest from the heats. Finished with a silver medal. Carl Forsman accepting his medal, accepting his tolly from Anna Tizard.
Which, as we know, is a cow and not a dinosaur like I thought it was last night.
Apparently it's a coon, a Highland coon. But he won't mind. Yuri Luchkin, what a swim he had. 1:32.01. Really swam a strong race out at the head of the field. And he accepts his medal and his mascot.
presentation party.
Nice deep breath there from Yuri Luchin, the Russian, the gold medalist in the 100 breaststroke SB5. Surely it's not going to be too long before that long-standing record of Kasper Engel is broken. 131.50. And a good job by Anna Tizard presenting those medals, Giles.
Very, very efficient medal presenting. Ribbon opened well, placed over the head nicely.
Yes.
Cow handed over without fuss.
Classic.
Classic.
Yeah. Well, we don't have a medal presentation for the women's SB5. There must be some sort of issue, maybe a protest or something that has to be sorted out. The teams have to, you do get half an hour to put a protest in, so I suppose you have to have half an hour. Well, someone doing their makeup there in this little gap there.
Important to look good. Members of the crowd there, the Dutch team. Always have good kit, the Dutch.
Yeah, you like that, yeah. Nice and bright. Spot the Dutch, a bit like the Irish.
That'll be the Aussies.
Yeah, good guess.
Not really a guess, just a fact.
The men's 100 breaststroke SB6 final. Well, Nelson Crispin. We had some tweets from Colombia at lunchtime today, Giles, so I hope the Colombians are watching this one. Nelson Crispin is going to be the man who is their big hope here. He goes in lane number 4. Watch out for Torben Schmidtke of Germany and Yevgeny Bohdaiko from Ukraine. They have had some good tussles in the last few years. Yevgeny Bohdaiko dominated the event, but Schmidtke has come closer to him last year, and now Crispin is in the mix as well.
Yeah, it certainly is a class that has been opened up a lot. Keep your tweets coming. Hashtag Glasgow 2015 at IPC Swimming.
From Colombia or anywhere.
From Colombia, anywhere. Brazil, Norway, Ukraine. We'll take them all.
We do expect to see, if Nelson Crispin is able to get a medal here, we do expect that tweet from Colombia. You have Valinsky for the Israeli team, lane number 1. Always had a great tradition of Paralympic swimming, the Israeli team. Fabian Toledo from Brazil in lane 2. Very strong Brazilian team here at these championships. There's Torben Schmidtke. Already seen Germany at the front of the field already tonight. Can we have another one? And there's Nelson Crispin. Wow, great swim he had in the heats. He's fastest into this final. And there's the man that was maybe hanging back just a little. Yevgeny Bohdaiko been very successful at the major championships in recent years. Andreas Bjornstad, or can he get in the medals for Norway? Martin Lieben, a newcomer here for Belgium, and Antonio Pons-Bertrand completes the lineup for Spain in lane number 8. But there's Torben Schmidtke. Really has Yevgeny Bohdaiko in his sights. Again, just slapping the chest there, trying to get himself worked up. Nelson Crispin, a little bit of a smile to his teammates who are right behind him. He looks confident. And there's Yevgeny Bohdaiko, pretty much in the zone. The Ukrainian, the Paralympic champion. He is going to be tough to beat, the man with the blue cap from Ukraine. But there's Nelson Crispin. Went out really fast this morning. He's going to have to do that again if he's going to try and get ahead of Torben Schmidtke and Yevgeny Bohdaiko. Can anyone else challenge for the medals? We're about to find out.
Well, Bjornstad using his coach there. Gets a slow start. It's Bohdaiko who's away best. But you've got to say, Paul, looking at Nelson Crispin, he's not a tall man, but you can just see, looking at him, he's got oodles of power, and he has got a very, very nice breaststroke technique indeed. A really nicely timed switch between the breaststroke legs and the arms. And he really is giving Bohodajko a run for his money here. They're going to come into the turn. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the Colombian who's a better round of rotation. He is, and moves, but he's nowhere near as good underwater as Bohodajko, who takes half a body length out of him. And this is where we start to see those classification pluses and minuses start to even out as the race wears on, as he moves back now on even terms with Bohodajko. Bohodajko seeming to just tie up a little bit, as Schmidtke also moves back on the outside, Paul.
Well, we saw Bohodajko just tie up slightly in his event yesterday. The same thing is happening to him. He's hanging on. The blue cap of Ukraine, Crispin in the white cap of Colombia. Torben Schmidtke coming right back into contention, but I think it's going to be Bohodajko who's going to take the gold again. And the Paralympic champion is the world champion again in 121.92. Another personal best for Nelson Crispin. He touches in silver, 122.83. And Torben Schmidtke, he finished fast, but not quite fast enough to catch the top two. Third place for the German.
Well, Nelson Crispin, when Bohodajko first came onto the scene, he had exactly the same problems with his race that we've just seen with Nelson Crispin. If Nelson Crispin can go away and work on that, there's Schmidtke. He doesn't look particularly happy with what's just happened. Here's the start again. Bohodajko out the blocks like a whippet. And superb underwater. Everyone else is already up and stroking before Bohodajko even breaks the surface. Here's the finish. Bohodajko gets it absolutely spot on at full extension, as does the Colombian. Bohodajko got far more reach than him. In a much tighter race, he probably would have got the better of him. But I think, Paul, that Nelson Crispin could go away, and there's a fair bit for him to work on there so that he stays relaxed through that race.
Bohodajko takes the gold in the men's 100 metres breaststroke. SB6, Crispin the silver, Schmidtke the bronze. Women's 100 metres breaststroke, SB6.
Well, this one was a real shake-up earlier on in the day, wasn't it? Tiffany Thomas-Kane of Australia, just 13 years of age, if I'm right, Paul.
Yeah, that's correct, just 13, and she was in, well, one of the outside lanes. She just caused a real shock there. Had an amazing time, 136.59, just about a second outside the long-standing world record. Right next to her was Charlotte Henshaw of the Great Britain team, who also did a personal best and a European record, but still behind the young Australian. Well, Langille from Canada, next to another 13-year-old Nicole Turner from Ireland. Ellie Simmons, the European champion, goes in lane number 3. What can she do tonight? And there is Tiffany Thomas-Kane from Australia, that 13-year-old, that phenomenal heat swim. Can Charlotte Henshaw pull something out of the bag for this one? Tanya Hubner, second Australian, goes in lane number 6. Muslim Kaya from Turkey in lane number 7. And Nina Koslova in lane number 8 for Ukraine. But what a swim from Tiffany Thomas-Kane, the 13-year-old, the youngest swimmer on the Australian team here at these championships. Charlotte Henshaw in lane number 5, a European record in the heats this morning. It's only good enough to qualify in second position. This should be a great battle.
Take your marks.
Well, SB6 is for a whole range of different disabilities, but this race seems to have pretty much sifted them out, Paul. Virtually everyone in this race, with the exception of Charlotte Henshaw, and over in lane number 1, Nydia Langille. Everyone is competing who has dwarfism. Now, what's interesting about Tiffany Thomas-Kane is her reach. She's got a lot of reach for a swimmer with dwarfism, far more than Ellie Simmonds, and just from sight, more than the other members of the field. She's coming now into the turn. She should do better round the turn than Charlotte Henshaw, who has no lower legs to push off the wall with. Charlotte Henshaw does well to hold her there, but I've got to say, Tiffany Thomas-Kane looks absolutely wonderful.
Tiffany Thomas-Kane, she is stretching away at the front, but Charlotte Henshaw is putting pressure on the Australian now. Charlotte Henshaw trying to come back on level terms. It's all upper body with Charlotte Henshaw, whereas Tiffany Thomas-Kane, more balance between legs and arms, although not as much propulsion from her arms there as Charlotte. But Charlotte Henshaw now trying to get back on level terms. Ellie Simmonds in third, but it's all about Tiffany Thomas-Kane for Australia. This is going to be a fantastic swim. The world record stands at 1:35.51, and it has gone. It's 1:34.95 for Tiffany Thomas-Kane. She takes the gold medal for Australia. It's silver and bronze for Great Britain. Charlotte Henshaw, yet another personal best, yet another European record for Charlotte Henshaw, 1:36.94. Ellie Simmonds under the 1:40 mark in 1:39.99. But they were all chasing the young 13-year-old, and Tiffany Thomas-Kane takes the gold in a new world record time.
Well, Charlotte Henshaw there in your picture, as you said, Paul, she broke the European record, but it just wasn't good enough. Ellie Simmonds picked up the bronze. It wasn't a bad swim from her at all, but all about this young superstar, Tiffany Thomas-Kane of Australia. Well, they are going to be celebrating her, and there they are. The Aussies are going absolutely mad. High fives, Big Tens, all round hugs. You name it.
They've started, they're going to be celebrating this, celebrating. Absolutely. There was a question mark, would the youngster be able to produce something in the final after such a sensational heat swim? But there's the evidence. The winner of the women's 100 breaststroke SB6 is Tiffany Thomas-Kane in a world record time. Charlotte Henshaw takes the silver for Great Britain in a European record, bronze to Ellie Simmonds. Well, Tiffany Thomas-Kane.
Big butterfly kick from Thomas-Kane underwater there to help drive her into that underwater section. You're allowed one kick and one pull underwater before you surface, but it really is textbook stuff. The hands come forward, and you can see the legs kick as the hands come forward, and the hands one on top of the other, finishes full extension, and a big smile. She can't believe it. She'll be on the phone later to Mum and Dad saying, "You're not going to believe what's just happened to me."
Well, I hope Mum and Dad are watching tonight on the live stream. If they are, please tweet us in. That was a sensational swim by Tiffany Thomas-Kane. Continuing with medal ceremonies.
The medals will be presented by Chief Executive of Glasgow Live, Dr. Bridget McConnell, CBE. Accompanied by Chairperson IPC Swimming Sport Technical Committee, Jane Deeblay.
Well, this is the S1 men's 100 backstroke. Hasn't been an event
of the bronze medal
at the World Championships before.
Christos Tampasis.
So these are the winners of the medals for the inaugural men's 100 backstroke S1. There's Christos Tampasis. Has been a Paralympic champion in the past, the Greek. huge reception. I remember when he swam in the Paralympic Games in Athens in 2004, one of the crowd's favourites in those Paralympic Games.
Absolutely mad for him, didn't they?
Still going strong. 11 years later, still on the medal podium. Tom Cole for the Ukraine. He takes the silver medal. Ukraine started really well tonight.
Winner of the gold medal and world champion representing Ukraine, Gennady Boyko.
Gennady Boyko continues his run of success at the major championships. Gold medalist in London, a gold medalist at the last championships, World Championships in Canada in 2013. Also at the European Championships last year in the Netherlands. And again, on the podium, at the top of the podium, here in Glasgow 2015.
Ladies and gentlemen, please show your respect for the national anthem of Ukraine. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal winners.
Oh, big celebrations there from the man in the centre.
Yes, delighted with that performance.
There we go, a smile at last.
Send your tweets in to Giles. I see him with the Twitter feed right in front of him here, scanning at IPC Swimming, the hashtag Glasgow 2015. Also look at glasgow2015.com or ipc-swimming.org for all information about IPC Swimming. Also, if you like IPC Swimming on Facebook, you will be party to the latest news on IPC Swimming. So get those tweets in, and Giles and I will hopefully read them out if we get time. It's been quick fire tonight though, Giles. We haven't really had much time to draw breath. All these finals to look forward to, and then moving in to the medal presentations. They've been getting the athletes in and out very quickly tonight.
Well, we've got a tweet here from Caitlin. That's all it says. It says, congratulations to my cousin Tiffany. So
I knew there'd be something from the Tiffany Thomas Kane fan club.
Representing Poland, Jacek.
Well, there's a happy man, Jacek from Poland. Absolutely superb swim there. He's a man who's been around for a number of years. He swam against Great Britain's own Jim Anderson at the major championships in the past. He's on the podium again. He looks delighted with that. That was a fantastic swim. 2:10.77 for Jacek. to win the bronze medal.
The silver medal.
Wasn't too far away from the world record holder, Dmitry Kokorev of Russia. He's been the man who has dominated the S2 class for the last decade. But on this occasion, it is silver. We did see that in the European Championships last year. Kokorev lost one of the early races in those championships, but came back really strong in the closing days of the Europeans last year. The man who beat him in the early days of those championships last year is the man who has beaten him here on day 2. Sergei Palmarchuk from Ukraine. And he did look technically very good in that longer distance. I just wonder, Giles, would the shorter distance just suit Kokorev a little bit better than the longer distances now?
I think so. His style is about strength and power. It's not about efficiency. That's a classic sprint tactic. Alexis Tolly.
Ladies and gentlemen, show your respect for the national anthem of Ukraine. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal winners and a thank you to our medal presentation party.
Satisfied smile on the face of Palmarchuk. Jacek check, he can't wait, he wants to get the pictures done. He's a happy man. He's right in there. Jacek check, excellent.
Trying to look cash, isn't he? Well, there's lots and lots of Twitter love coming in, especially for Charlotte Henshaw's European record.
The men's 100 freestyle S9 final is next on to poolside. Lothar Silva goes for Brazil in lane number 1. 2 Brazilians in the outside lanes. Yamada, experienced Japanese man, in lane number 2. Tamas Tok in lane number 3. Paralympic bronze medalist from Hungary, Brendan Hall. Commonwealth Games medalist last year here in Glasgow. Gold medalist last night. Alexander Skaliuk, European medalist last year in the 100 butterfly. And Federico Morlacchi, 5 times a gold medalist in those European championships, including the title in this one. Leo Latinmäki, well, he'd be happy to make the final in this one. More of a 50 sprinter, the Finland swimmer. And Vaniton Filo, Brazilian, in lane number 8. Here's Skaliuk. Can he challenge Brendan Hall? Skaliuk with an arm disability, Brendan Hall with an above-knee leg amputation. Real mixture of classifications in this one. This should be very fast. It was very close in the heats, and Brendan Hall somewhat left on the blocks there with the yellow cap of Australia.
Yeah, we'd expect to see that. A single leg start, obviously reduced power from those who have 2 legs. Going down the pool very well indeed is the Russian Shalak. Very, very straight arm style. Coming over, they call that windmill freestyle, trying to spin your arms over. But look at lane 3, Tamas Tot. He is very, very quick round the wall as well. But it is the center lane, Skalachuk of Russia, who is bringing this home now. Brendan Hall, I think, is going to struggle to get on terms. He may do. His weakness at the start and at the turn. As they come now into the final 15, Paul.
Well, we know he's very strong in the closing stage. He's a 400-metre specialist, but I'm not sure if he's going to catch Skaliuk, the Russian, in lane number 5. It looks like it's gold for Russia. Skaliuk will take this one. It's gold for Skaliuk. It's silver for Morlaki, who came up alongside Skaliuk in the closing stages, and bronze to Brendan Hall. But it is gold to the Russian, and maybe that is a little bit of a shock. We expected Morlaki or Brendan Hall to feature in that one, but there is Skaliuk trying to look up to the scoreboard there, which is 50 metres away from him, but he's pretty sure that he's got the gold. There's Morlaki, there's Brendan Hall, disappointed.
Well, Skaliuk really took it by the scruff of the neck, didn't he? And great, great start there. You can see he was absolutely electric. Came up very, very quickly indeed. In breaststroke, you want to stay underwater a long time. In freestyle, you want to get up to the surface as quickly as possible. And here you can see those hands come over, very, very straight arm, but they go into the water, they're clean, and he finishes full extension. And he's good enough to beat the rest of them.
Skaliuk takes the world title, 56.97. Morlaki the silver, Brendan Hall the bronze. The final of the women's 100 freestyle S9. Elizabeth Smith from the USA in lane number 1. Hannah Ashton, the multicoloured costume there representing the USA. Nuria Marquez Soto, medalist in the 100 backstroke yesterday. Behind this lady, the in-form swimmer from Australia, Ellie Cole, 2 world records yesterday. But Michelle Concoli, relative newcomer to the Paralympic programme from America in 5. Sarai Gascon in 6. Tully Kearney from Great Britain in 7. And in lane number 8, Manon Vermeiren from the Netherlands. Well, Ellie Cole, can she do again what she did yesterday and take a gold medal in this S9 event? She will have Michelle Concoli from the USA for company. Just a 1/10 of a second separated those two from the heat. It's a good start though by Sarai Gascon, the world record holder in 50 freestyle.
It was, but it was also a very good start from Ellie Cole, given that she's only got one leg to start off. But leading us out here in lane number 6, apologies, Sarai Gascon of Spain, but expect to see the Australian and American coming back on her in the yellow lanes. Ellie Cole looks like she's going to be over very close to Sarai Gascon.
It's all very close, but it's a good sprint out to the wall there for Ellie Cole as she comes just ahead of Michelle Concoli of the USA. It's going to be a battle, I think, between the two middle lanes. Michelle Concoli, a newcomer to Paralympic swimming. Can she get in ahead of Ellie Cole, the Paralympic champion from London in 2012? It looks like it's going to be the yellow cap of Australia. Ellie Cole takes another gold medal here at these championships. Concoli for the USA in the silver medal position. And it's Marquez Soto, the youngster from Spain, who gets in for the bronze medal. But Ellie Cole, she was strong in the closing stages and just swam away from Michelle Concoli, who pressured her for the bulk of that race. But Ellie Cole it was who went away at the end. And there's the bronze medalist, Nuria Marquez Soto, the young teenager, on the medal podium again.
Well, there we go, there's the start. Sarai Gascon very much suited to the 50. And here is Ellie Cole bringing it home. She's really on great form at these championships and translating that fantastic rolling style that we saw on the backstroke yesterday, where she set the world record, into her freestyle today.
Ellie Cole takes the gold for Australia. Michelle Concoli the silver for USA. Nereus Marquez Soto the bronze for Spain. And victory ceremony is on the podium already. We have 3 medal ceremonies in this batch, so we're catching up with the one that we didn't see earlier. Craig Hunter, board member of British Swimming, presenting these medals, and Ian Mason, also director of British Swimming, assisting.
Representing Norway, Ingrid Turner.
Well, it's a medal for Norway. It's Ingrid Thunen. Norwegian swimming in the S1 classification. Of course, this was a combined event, S1s and S2s combined. S1 is the most severe disability in the Paralympic programme. That's the class that Ingrid Thunen swims in. Saw her on the medal podium at the Europeans last year. She's on the medal podium at the World Championships this year.
Winner of the silver medal, representing the Russian Federation, Alexandra Agafonova.
Alexandra Agafonova, well, it was an excellent swim from Agafonova. She led in the first 50. Interesting to see how she goes in the 50 backstroke. That could be one that she may target to be on top of the medal podium. No use of her arms at all, just that excellent inverted butterfly stroke. But here's the champion, Irina Sotska, continuing the great run of the Ukraine swimmers in the lower classifications. Great start for this day 2 finals. They surely are going to be top of the medal table at the moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, we show you respect for the national anthem.
Again, we shall hear the national anthem of Ukraine.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal.
Irina Sotska is the world champion. Agafonova, Ingrid Thunen. Here's the medalists. Treasure these pictures. Oh, very happy to be on that medal podium. We'll come up against each other later in the week too. We may see a different result. We'll see. So a number of great events to come at these championships.
Well, keep your tweets coming in. Use the hashtag Glasgow 2015. We've heard from pretty much all of Tiffany Thomas-Kane's family. We've had her mum, her big sister, her little sister, and her aunt, all on saying how proud they are of her.
I knew she would have a big following. She does now, anyway. She does. We saw the S1 and S2 classifications. We move right to the other end of the spectrum now. It's the SM13 classifications. Swimmers with a visual impairment, partially sighted swimmers, and there is the first ever medal for Azerbaijan at an IPC Swimming World Championships. It goes to Dimitri Saleh in a time of 2:11.33. He takes the bronze.
The winner of the silver medal, representing Ukraine, Yaroslav
Denisenko for Ukraine, the silver. It's a good time for him too, 2:08.58. He'll be very pleased with that one. Well, we saw Azerbaijan taking a medal. We saw Turkey take their first medal yesterday. And we've also got medalists from Vietnam in one of the earlier races, although that race has not been presented yet, so we'll wait and see that in the next presentation. But here is the man who was just outside his own world record swim to win this 200 individual medley, 2:04.06, 2:04.06, and did he look supreme? That's Ihar Boki of Belarus. He is the champion again. I make that 11 gold medals he has got from his 3 World Championships so far, and you would not bet against him to add more to that tally.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal winners.
What you were saying about the tweets for Charlotte Henshaw, Charles, before we had to move on to the next event.
Yeah, lots and lots of congratulations for Charlotte Henshaw, and also celebrations from Paralympics Spain for Nuria and her bronze in the 100 metres breaststroke. Keep your tweets coming. Hashtag Glasgow 2015. We'll try and come to them as we can.
Anna Stetsenko, silver medalist yesterday in the 50 freestyle. She is bronze medalist tonight in the 200 metres individual medley. And that was a European record for the SM13 class. 2:28.71. What a real tussle it was for the gold and silver medal. Darya Stokalova from Russia. Well, 2:24.86 for Stokalova. That was an absolutely superb swim. It's a combined event. She's swimming up with the SM13s. She's an SM12 swimmer. She set a new world record for the SM12 classification. But the gold medalist is Rebecca Myers from the USA. And her swim too was a world record time of 2:24.60. A massive world record for Rebecca Myers. Over 2 seconds. Stripped off the world record mark that she set last year in Pasadena. She retains her world title. The gold goes to Rebecca Myers of the USA.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medalists. Thank you for our medal presentation.
Well done, Rebecca Myers. Well, you don't often get two world records in the same race. We had it there. Rebecca Myers, world record for the SM13 class. And the silver medalist, Daraya Stokalova, world record for the SM12 class. The final of the men's 100 metres breaststroke SB7. Well, Giles, looking forward to this one, the SB7 100 breaststroke for men. Nakamura from Japan in lane 1. Paralympic medalist himself, Fernenko, from the relay last night for Ukraine in 2. Simon Boer, the European record holder, in lane 3. Carlos Serrano Zarate, the Colombian, caused a real stir in the heats this morning. Blake Cochran, the world record holder, in 5. Matthew Levy, his Australian teammate, in lane number 6. Can he challenge for the medals? Rudy Garcia Tolson, experienced man from the USA, been around for a decade or so. And Victor Kemeny from Slovakia in lane number 8.
Well, mix of disabilities in this SB7 race. What can Serrano Zarate do against this man, Blake Cochran of Australia?
Garcia Tolson there. Blocks the black cap of USA, the 2 yellow Australian caps in the centre. Blake Cochran and Carlos Zarate just pretty much of a muchness off the block, but as they hit the water, Blake Cochran has gone away and clear.
Yeah, it was very, very good start from Cochran. Went straight into a very, very streamlined position, and that helped carry him in front of the field. As we've said before, in this disability swimming is all about maximising what you have got, but minimising the effects of your disability. But moving through now, the Colombian, much higher stroke rev. Oh, it's a shocker of a turn. He comes in on the half finish. He practically touched the wall with his nose, and Blake Cochran has punished him again on the underwater section, but not by much. Not as much as he did on the start. And it looks to me, Paul, like the Colombian may have enough to bring this home now as they come into the final 25 metres. The Colombian has got much more of a ride over the front vortex of the stroke into the final 15 metres.
He looks absolutely fantastic. That's Carlos Serrano Zarate. He's going away from the world record holder, Blake Cochran. There's nothing that Blake Cochran can do. It's going to be gold to Colombia. Carlos Serrano Zarate, he gets it in a new world record time of 1:16.68. It's gold to Colombia, silver to Australia, and bronze to Simon Boer of the Netherlands. And 4th place to Matthew Levy of Australia out of the medals. But what a swim there from Carlos Serrano Zarate. World record for the Colombian.
Well, that was simply sensational swimming. There he is, sitting on the lane rope, taking his hat and his goggles off. Only a young man, but he has got a great swimming career in front of him. Flops over to the side.
Simon Boer, just 16 years of age, the Colombian. This is his first major championship. He has hit the world of IP swimming with a vengeance here. And Blake Cochran, he was great off the start, wasn't he? He was great off the turn. But in the swim, Carlos Serrano Zarate just pulled away from the great champion Blake Cochran in the yellow cap of Australia, taking that in a new world record time.
Well, yeah, it was the power to weight ratio that did it in the end.
Carlos Serrano Zarate is the champion in a new world record time. Blake Cochran the silver, Simon Boer the bronze. The women's 100 metres breaststroke SB7 final. This should be an excellent battle for the medals. Not sure if anyone can challenge the great Jessica Long in the centre lane. Vida Clausen from Norway goes in lane 1. Sarah Meehan from Canada in 2. Tess Rutkleff, well, she may challenge for the medals there, qualified in 3rd position. Liz Johnson was talking about Tess Rutkleff and how she was in impressive form. But there is Jessica Long, looking mean as she goes to the final.
Indeed. Den Braber may be good enough to test Jessica Long here, Paul. Jessica Long not on her absolute best through the heats. Looked to be taking it easy. She's got so much power available. And in lane 8, Cohn of the USA. I think it's going to be too much for Cohn to mess with these centre lanes. Jessica Long really has been in a class of her own. Generates all of her power from her arms.
As does Den Braber. Very similar disabilities. Jessica Long, Lisa Den Braber, almost identical actually. And different styles employed at the start though.
Take your marks.
Lisa Den Braber all the way up on that backboard. Jessica Long, a bit of a track start with her knees that she has. And
Jessica Long's style paid off by a metre in the start. And you can see as the breaststroke, in breaststroke, in able-bodied breaststroke, as the feet come together, they work together like the blades of a propeller, and one blade basically balances out the other and generates that power to enable the hands to shoot forward. Now, we can't see under the water here, but you wouldn't think that Jessica Long had any leg missing at all. She manages to generate so much power just with her upper legs into the turn here, and still very good off the wall, despite the fact she hasn't got lower legs, feet, ankles, all of that stuff that helps generate the power into the push. But she's so strong in her upper body. There you can see as the hands whip forward, she almost, the momentum of shoving those hands forward pulls her through and into the dive section of the breaststroke. And she even manages to generate a bit of glide despite the fact she hasn't got those propeller feet to push her forward.
And here she comes into the last 15. She is being pressured by Lisa Den Braber from the Netherlands. A great swim from the Netherlands swimmer here, but she's not going to catch the great Jessica Long here. It's not going to be a world record time, but it is going to be another world title for Jessica Long of the USA. 1:32.46, the championship record for Long. A real close contest for third there. Den Braber taking the silver for the Netherlands, and Oksana Krul getting in ahead of Tess Rutkleff just by 0.2 of a second, 0.3 of a second the difference. But Jessica Long and Lisa Den Braber at the front of the field. I just thought for a second, Giles, that Lisa Den Braber was making some ground on Jessica Long, but it wasn't enough, and the great USA swimmer adds to her amazing tally of World Championship medals.
Yeah, you can see on her face that, well, there's a bit of a smile there, but the time only 1/100th of a second quicker than she went in Toronto earlier this year. She's looking for more at this meet, and so far it isn't coming. Lost a lot of motivation for the sport. Originally born in Siberia and grew up in the USA. Said she had a lot of anger to work out and worked that out in the pool.
Jessica Long takes the world title and a championship record. Lisa Den Braber, the silver for the Netherlands. Oksana Krul, the bronze for Ukraine. Women's 100 freestyle for the S3 class is the next final we will see here in Tollcross. There's Chaves Perez of Mexico limbering up there in lane number 1. Stamatopoulou from Greece in lane number 2. And there's Gabardolina from Kazakhstan. Won Kazakhstan's first ever World Championship medal in Montreal in 2013. Lisette Teunissen from the Netherlands. Can she continue this good run of medals for the Netherlands tonight? Olga Zviderska in lane number 5. The world record holder should challenge for this one. And there's the experienced Patricia Valle from Mexico. Second Mexican in this one. And Pinju Jip, accompanied by Mick Massey, former GB coach there on the pool side. And Anke Conradi, she competed in the first ever World Championships back in Malta in '94, as did you, Joe. Gabardolina, there we saw the world record holder in other events, but not in this one, because Olga Zviderska is the record holder in this one. So we'll watch out for Gabardolina. She could challenge in lane number 3. Conradi, her 6th World Championship for the German.
Take your marks.
Late change there at the start there. Just the swimmer in lane number 5, I think it was Zviderska, turning onto her front, conserving her breath right to the last minute, then turning over to the front as the whistle sounded. Very
interesting strategy indeed. I don't think I've ever seen that before. It's quite be interesting to see if others start picking that up, but taking it out early is Gabardolina of Kazakhstan, but I think she'll be caught quite quickly by the centre lanes. I don't know that she can maintain that pace that she's gone out with. This the S3 class function for many of these swimmers really from about the mid-chest up. Oh, and Teunissen, absolutely wonderful round the wall. Very, very smooth indeed. Left Gabardolina way, way behind. And this is great S3 swimming pool. Look, you can see the hands coming in right down the centre line. The head, lovely and still. Good shoulder roll.
Oh, you can clearly see the impairment in her hands as she goes forward there, but she is just making light work of that one because she's absolutely straight as an arrow here. And Lisette Teunissen is coming home now, surely to take the gold. Zviderska with a late challenge, but we'll keep an eye on the clock here. The world record stands at 1:37.58. Surely it's going to be a world record for Lisette Teunissen. It is a world record for Teunissen. 1:37.18. The world record has gone by about half a second. Olga Zviderska in 2nd position and Gabardolina in 3rd place, and a great big smile from Lisette Teunissen after the turn at the halfway stage, she was never really threatened. Fantastic swimming from the Netherlands. The Netherlands having a great night.
They are indeed, and you mentioned the turn there. I really think that was a crucial part in that great swim. She was so smooth there, just finishing in lane number 2. Lane 1 and lane 8 still to come in. Aceves Perez in lane number 1 and Annika Conradi of Germany.
There's Annika Conradi finishing there, and Rosette Dennison, fantastic swimming. The Dutch really doing well here. I'm surprised we haven't heard from Chantal Bounaker, great tweeter here. She's always tweeting about Dutch performances.
Well, it's funny you should say that. We have actually heard from her, but
you didn't tell me.
In respect to Charlotte Henshaw, we've yet to hear from her to talk about the Dutch. Well, here we see. You can see that that left hand of hers comes in clenched fist. She can't hold that hand open, but still does fantastically. You can see the amount of extra air that goes in around the around that left hand. You don't want air around your hand. It's like spinning your wheels. You're trying to lock that hand in the water. Need it clean.
Lisette Teunisson of the Netherlands takes the gold in a world record time. Svederska the silver, Gabadulina the bronze. Well, we talk about the Dutch having a good night, the Colombians have had a good night as well, and the Ukrainians have had an exceptional night so far.
Well, there is Sophia Craven, former British wheelchair basketball player. And Agnes Sislak.
Representing Germany, Torben Schmidtke.
Torben Schmidtke looked a little bit disappointed at the end of that race. He thought he had a good chance of taking the gold medal in that one. He did challenge Bo Duykel last year in the European Championships. Bo Duykel just getting the better of the German on that occasion. It's a bronze medalist this time for Torben Schmidtke.
The winner of the silver medal, representing Colombia,
holding up his medal and his trolley.
Well, this young man has a great future ahead of him, Paul, wouldn't you say?
He won a couple of medals at the previous World Championships, but leading into the Paralympic Games next year, Nelson Crispin will be looking towards the top of that medal podium. There's no doubt about that. A new America's record for Nelson Crispin to win the silver, 122.83. But the master of this class just showed his strength. He just pulled away, didn't he? Showed another gear in the closing stages of that race. Crispin challenged for the lead, but Bo Duykel just had something, that little bit extra at the end.
He did indeed. Works very, very hard. Trains out there. Their Black Sea training camp. And make sure he gets the paperwork all in order before the playing of the national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, please show your respect for the national anthem, Ukraine. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal winners.
Well, there are the medalists. Nelson Crispin almost motoring off there, but came back for his photo. Well, ask and you shall receive. Chantal Bunacher has been on Twitter. Hi guys, of course I'm watching. I've seen some great swimming so far. Really enjoying your comments. AM and Ping, not much to add. Thanks for that, Chantal.
I can't believe it. We've silenced Chantal Bunacher almost.
Who would have ever thought it?
Ladies and gentlemen, we now bring you the victory ceremony for the women's 100 metres breaststroke SB6 final.
The women heading out for the medal ceremony for the 100 breaststroke in the SB6 class.
The winner of the bronze medal, representing Great Britain,
Ellie Simmons takes the bronze medal. Always smiling on top of the medal podium. Always pleased to receive a medal. Disappointed yesterday, silver medal position, but should be happy in getting a medal in one of our less favoured events, the 100 breaststroke. Big sigh there. Accepts another medal here.
Representing Great Britain, Charlotte Henshaw.
Charlotte Henshaw could do no more. 2 personal best times in the day, 1 in the heat and 1 in the final. New European record, 136.94. That was good enough for the silver medal.
Well, she was excellent on the day, but it was all about this 13-year-old lady from Australia, Tiffany Thomas-Kane. Well, we are going to be talking about her for years to come, Paul.
I'm sure we are. She is going to be a massive favourite. What a swim that she had this morning. She absolutely busted her personal best on the heats this morning, and she went again tonight faster. A new world record time of 1:34.95 for the 13-year-old Tiffany Thomas-Kane, and she will enjoy the Australian national anthem.
Well, it was almost all too much for her, wasn't it? But the rest of her team carry on singing the national anthem as the Brits, Charlotte Henshaw for silver and Ellie Simmons in bronze, come in either side of her for the photo.
Tiffany Thomas-Kane, the new world record holder from Australia at 13 years of age. The finalists for the men's 400 freestyle S11 class. Well, this class, of course, the S11 for swimmers with visual impairment, swimmers with no vision at all. They will all be wearing blacked out goggles. The 8 swimmers in this final: Ibrahisev from Kazakhstan, Zalewski from Ukraine, in lane number 2. Israel Oliver, can he challenge for the gold medal? The Spanish swimmer in lane number 3. Bradley Schneider, championship record in the heats this morning, looked pretty comfortable. And Matheus Sousa from Brazil in 5. Taron Drake was disqualified in this morning's heats, was reinstated after a protest. Sergio Sayas from Argentina in lane number 7, and Amadei Cruz from Portugal in lane number 8. And there's Bradley Schneider. World record held by the great John Morgan, 4:20.83. That has stood since the Barcelona Paralympics of 1992, Giles.
Take your marks.
Well, it's a good start all round, but in this class where there is no vision at all, it's so important to go off square from the block, because as we've already seen there, in lane number 5, Matheus Sousa went straight onto the lane rope, and that cost him a massive amount of time against Bradley Schneider. Bradley Schneider, he's on the lane rope, but he's not hitting it. He's skewing across the lane now. There's the tap. It's a good tap. He's over cleanly, straight onto the legs to drive himself out of that. And also with a good tap and turn was Israel Oliver of Spain in the lane outside of him. But this is good freestyle swimming indeed from Bradley Schneider. Lovely and smooth, Paul. Hands come over, very, very workmanlike, using the body as a datum to transfer the power into the water. Israel Oliver on the outside of him, having to work a lot harder, much more up and down. Oh no, he's caught the lane rope, and he's going to have to go back and touch the wall to get back in this race, which he can do. He's not broken the rules there, but that is a potential disaster for Bradley Schneider.
Well, we saw that happen to him in the Paralympic Games, something very, very similar, that someone in the next lane, you see how close he is to the lane ropes, someone in the next lane actually touched him. He thought he was coming to the turn, he thought it was a tapper, and he turned in the middle of the pool. Quite similar there, he touched the lane rope, thought he was at the turn, went for his tumble turn. Of course, there was no wall there, so he had to go back and to get himself back on the wall, but he's recovered well, hasn't he?
Well, it just goes to show the class of the man, doesn't it? That you can afford to make a mistake like that. And within, well, what, within 75 metres, he's already found 4 metres over Drake, over Sousa, apologies, and Oliver either side of him. And he looks now to be much more in his rhythm. There's no rule that says how long that tapping stick has to be. Obviously, the advantage of having a longer tapping stick, that was a great tap and turn. No rule that says how long it's going to be. Obviously, the longer it is, then you give your swimmer a greater amount of time to work to get their stroke cycle right as they come into the turn. But as the stick is longer, you lose accuracy for that tap on the back. The advantage, obviously, is a shorter stick. Bradley Schneider's tapper uses very, very short sticks indeed as they tap him on the back, but it means that he doesn't get long to react there. He only gets, well, half a stroke, really, and he's got to go straight into that turn. But he is just ruling this race as they come into the final 25 metres of the 300-metre mark.
He's kind of zigzagging across the lanes here, as he did, that we saw him again at the end of the 100. He's really not keeping that straight line very well at all, Bradley Schneider. Coming into the turn now. Let's see if he can get over here. Yeah, he's over safely this time.
Gets that one nicely done. And there you can see the much, much longer tapping stick of Matheus Sousa on the outside of him.
Bradley Schneider now, can he keep his straight line here? He is veering away. We didn't see that in the heats. He's really losing the direction at all. That little mishap earlier in the race, it looks like it has affected him. It's affected his instincts there as he's going down the lane here. He's on his way back though. He'll be pleased to finish this one. Again, veering over to the left-hand side of the lane. That's not like the Bradley Schneider that we know, but he is going to surely come home for a world title again. Oh goodness, he just can't get off those ropes, can he, Giles?
Well, he keeps hitting them and hitting them, but he's coming now into the final 15 metres, Paul. That's surely going to cost him a lot of time, all those mistakes.
Well, his time from this morning was 4:41.30. He's gone 4:37.13. It was such a ragged swim from Bradley Schneider, but he was comfortably in first position. 4:37.13 for Schneider. Matias Sosa, 4:45.45 at silver for Brazil. And it looks like Taron Drake here coming in now for third position. Taron Drake ahead of Israel Oliver. And Bradley Schneider, well, what a ragged race that was for Bradley Schneider. My goodness, he just could not get off the ropes. Once you get into the ropes, must be very difficult to come off those ropes and to maintain your straight line.
Well, and these lane ropes, they're not like rubbing shoulders with a marshmallow. They are anti-wave lane ropes here, coming into lane 1 to finish. Ibrahimovic.
There's Amadei Cruz from Portugal. There's Taron Drake. Well, Taron Drake, he's had an up and down day here. I'm not sure if he's actually miscounted Taron Drake in the black hat. We've got him on our system that he's in the bronze medal position, didn't have to do this final 100. Looks like he's doing 500 here. Taron Drake has done 500 in the same time as Amadei Cruz has done 400. They come in absolutely together. Taron Drake will stop this time in lane number 6. But here's Bradley Schneider, the winner of the 400 freestyle S11, 4:37.13. But what a ragged swim it was.
Oh, it was, wasn't it? And I think they're going to have to go away and work on how on earth they're going to try and get him swimming straighter. He was good off the start, wasn't he? But then once he'd hit the lane rope once, he zigzagged round. Oh my word, he even has his hand jammed into the lane rope. Now, you're not allowed to pull on the lane ropes. We'll have to wait and see if... And he clonks it there on his elbow. He'll come out of this one scuffed to bits. And here's the final tap. Well, he gets that bit right. In the end, it didn't matter. Improved on his final time. And there he is. Well, they're having a bit of a laugh about it with his tapper. And they will have their goggles checked to make sure that they can't see through them. All blacked out.
The women's 400 freestyle S11 final is the next to take place. I'll see if we're going to have any more drama here in the women's race like we had in the men's race. Shikaka Ono from Japan was in lane 1. Martina Rabellini from Italy in lane number 2. Li Guzi goes in lane number 3 for China. The big two will be in the centre lanes though. We have Mary Fisher from New Zealand and Daniela Schulte from Germany. Well, Daniela Schulte, the world record holder and the world champion at the last 2 world championships. Olga Yakubuk goes for Ukraine in lane number 6. She'll be hoping to get into the medal positions. Yomi Ikinaga from Japan in lane 7. And Regiana Nunes Silva from Brazil, final swimmer here. There is Daniela Schulte, world record holder from Germany. She goes in lane number 5. We didn't have a heat for this swim this morning. Progresses to a straight final. Mary Fisher, the fastest qualification time, the fastest time recorded in the world this year. But Daniela Schulte has a great record in this event. Paralympic champion in 2012, and world champion in both 2010 and in 2013, and she is the world record holder. This could be quite a close battle, I think, Giles, between the big two. Mary Fisher, a very patriotic NZ goggles there. What a successful championships New Zealand had in 2013, and Mary Fisher started yesterday with a gold medal on day 1. Can she make it 2 gold medals in 2 days? Mary Fisher in lane 4 is the early leader, being pressed by Li Guzi of China in lane 3, and Daniela Schulte also going well in lane number 5. So the big two away at the head of the field as they come down to the first 50.
We're also going well in lane 8, just out of shot there is Nunes Silva, but it is going to be about the middle lanes. Schulte looks to go over first. Good turn from her. Mary Fisher, although it was a good start, she headed straight for the lane rope, and that cost her just a little bit of time. This is nice swimming from the German in the centre lane. Important to remember, of course, that if you're completely blind, you can't see what your coach is telling you to do with your technique in a training session. Most of the time, the coach will stand on the pool side and say, your hand's going in flat, or like this, or like that, and I want it to go in like this. With a blind athlete, you literally have to manipulate their arms and hands and say, I don't want your hand to do this, I want it to go in the water like this, I want it to go in a steeper angle, and stuff like that. And it makes that kind of learning curve. It means that they have to do it all entirely through proprioception. Proprioception being the ability to know where your hands and legs are in relation to your body without having to look at them. And that's something that these blind swimmers really, really have to master. Now, coming dangerously close there to the lane rope again is Mary Fisher. Daniela Schulte is doing a much, much better job of swimming down the centre of the lane pool. She's got a rather curious flick with her left hand as that exits the water, and that's exactly the kind of stroke fault that a coach would pick up on and try and iron out, but it's so much more difficult to do with these S11 swimmers.
Schulte is a great exponent of swimming down the centre of the lane. She normally swims down bang in the centre of the lanes. We often see the S11 swimmers just hug the lane rope somewhat just to get a little bit of a touch to know where they are. So a lot of the S11 swimmers like to swim alongside the lane rope, not into them, of course, because they are pretty unforgiving. Mary Fisher just hugging that lane rope there at the left-hand side of your picture there. And Daniela Schulte, well, she's gone over just to the right-hand side of the lane, but she has a clear lead, 238.16 at the halfway stage. Mary Fisher in second position, 241.63. Mary Fisher definitely on the right-hand side of the lane rope. Not sure she wanted to be that close, but Schulte now stretching her lead. She has about a 3-second advantage on Mary Fisher, and that is probably growing as we progress through the race. Looks like Olga Jakubuk holding on to third position ahead of Li Guzi, but also going well down there in lane number 8 is Nunes Silva, just falling back as they progress through this 400. So as they come to the turn at the scoreboard end, Daniela Schulte still with that advantage over Mary Fisher, and it does look like the gap is growing, and Schulte is doing a very good job at the front of the field.
She is very well drilled indeed, but she is moving over to the lane rope now. If she gets a serious hit, that could cost her, because Mary Fisher has ever so slightly eaten away at that lead. But Mary Fisher, I mean, even when we've not been talking about it, she keeps having minor scuffs and scrapes along the lane rope. It's slowing her down all the time. Here's Schulte, very well drilled with a tapper. Didn't get it quite right that time, though. Went for a touch turn rather than a tumble turn. There you just see Mary Fisher go over. The tumble turn much, much quicker than a grab turn. But Schulte looking in good shape here, still in the centre of that lane. There we can see again that hand flicking as it comes out on the left-hand side. The right arm that the side that she's breathing to, much more textbook freestyle. Hand coming out square. There's no messing around with it. And it goes in the water very cleanly. Good tap, gets the tumble right that time, lifts her head up to kind of generate enough roll as Mary Fisher turns, and this is her now coming into the final 50 metres. Mary Fisher trying to pick up the pace now, Paul.
Mary Fisher is the sprinter, Daniela Schulte is the distance specialist, and it looks like Daniela Schulte should have enough to hold on here, but Mary Fisher making a real bid here in the last 50, but it's not going to be enough. It's going to be Daniela Schulte surely for Germany, and Daniela Schulte just veering over slightly to the right-hand side of the lane ropes, but she's done a great job through this 400 freestyle, and she will take the gold for Germany in 5:20.46. Mary Fisher 5:24.81. It's silver this time for the New Zealand swimmer, and the battle for third looks like it's going to be won by Li Guzi of China, medalist in the 50 freestyle at the Paralympic Games. She's going to get a medal in the 400 here in 5:43.98, ahead of Olga Yakubuk from Ukraine. But it was all about Daniela Schulte. She did stretch away, used that stamina to great effect over the course of that 400, and a little bit of a sprint at the end from Mary Fisher, but she was just too far back.
That completes the finish. There is Schulte. You'll have heard the news by now, of course. All these athletes, they can't just look up to the scoreboard, they have to wait to be told where they finished. It's a real trademark thing, isn't it, Paul, of blind swimming, is that they'll finish the race and then they'll be expressionless because they don't know where they've come.
Right, the tappers there not allowed to tell the swimmers where they have finished even after the race has finished, not until that result is official. So the tappers will collect their swimmers and take them out to the get their goggles checked, the blacked out goggles.
Schulte, look at that left hand as it comes into the water, it practically skates along the surface, pulls in loads of extra air than it needs to. There's the tap. She's obviously very well drilled. She's probably counting her strokes as well as receiving the tap. There's the goggle check to make sure that they are completely opaque. And a big
there
hug.
we have it. Oh, well done, Daniela Schulte. That was the one she targeted. She wanted that one. The world record holder is now the world champion. We may not get this result until the goggles have finally been checked for everyone and reported to the referees. There's David Ellis there, obviously in to support Claire Cashmore. Here's the confirmed result of the men's 400 freestyle S11. There has been a disqualification. Bradley Schneider from the USA was disqualified, so the gold goes to Brazil. Matias Sousa, Taron Drake the silver, and Israel Oliver from Spain the bronze.
Well, what a shock indeed, and I bet that was for pulling on the lane rope as he got his hand jammed into the lane rope, Paul, and he'd flipped over backwards to push himself into the wall feet first. Well, you're not allowed to do that.
I'll try and find out that, bring you news before the medalists go to the medal presentation later. See if we can get some news on that. Brendan Hall takes the bronze medal for Australia. Be disappointed with that, I think, Brendan Hall. He was targeting the gold medal position.
The winner of the silver medal, representing Italy,
Federico Morlacchi, European champion, now the world silver medalist. 57.29 for Morlacchi. Again, another man, he would have targeted gold medal here tonight. Silver medal for Morlacchi. Gold medal, well, something of a shock. The Russian took the gold, it's Alexander Skalyuk. He takes it in that time of 56.97. Excellent performance from the Russian. He takes his first international title here in Glasgow.
Ladies and gentlemen, please show your respect for the national anthem, Russian Federation. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal winners.
Alexander Skalyuk, surprise gold medalist in the men's 100 freestyle S9. Remember your tweets coming into us at IP Swimming, hashtag Glasgow 2015. Giles is scanning Twitter as we speak. The result of the women's 400 freestyle S11, Daniela Schulte from Germany takes gold ahead of Mary Fisher and Lee Guzzi. Well, the medal presentation ready on the podium. It's the women's 100 freestyle S9. Maria Marquez Soto, again a 16-year-old on the medal podium for Spain, making big improvements here at these championships. 104.46 was her finishing time for the bronze medal position. Silver medalist from the USA is Michelle Concoli, 103.25. Swimmer again new to Paralympic sport, was a college swimmer in the USA, falling out of a fifth floor window.
It's got to be some party.
Need to ask her about that later on, James.
Yeah, we will. Well, big smiles now, though. World champion, silver medalist.
World champion, representing Australia, Ellie Cole.
Ellie Cole does it again. What form she's in here. What form the Australian team are in here. They are having a great championships. Ellie Cole, her second gold medal of the week. 102.78 was her final time. And she claims a world championship gold. She's the Paralympic champion from 2012. She's is now the world champion from 2015.
National anthem of Australia.
Australian team continuing the Advance Australia affair. Tiffany Thomas-Kane in the centre there. Ellie Cole appreciating that from her teammates. Great team spirit, the Aussies. Final of the men's 200 metres individual medley in the SM10 class.
This is the men's 200 metres individual medley SM10 final.
Oh, Giles, where is this one going to go?
Well, it's shaping up to be very, very interesting indeed, isn't it? Benoit Huot of Canada has dominated this event for a very, very long time indeed. World record holder, championship record holder. That's Rick Pendleton of Australia. Oliver van der Voort in lane 3 from the Netherlands. He could be in with a shout, but this is the man.
Clean shaven now. He had a big beard the other day, shaved down for this race. Denis Dubrov may well challenge Benoit Huot, the European champion, and Kevin Paul looked very good in the heats this morning, especially on the breaststroke leg. Of course, he is the champion in breaststroke. And Senko from Ukraine in lane number 7. And Alec Elliott had a good swim, the Canadian, to make this final featured in the early stages of the heat at the front of the field. But there's his teammate Benoit Huot. It means business, I think, Giles.
He does. Well, Dubrov is actually the fastest man this year. Set time in Dnipropetrovsk in Ukraine, 2:13. 2 of a second quicker.
Take your marks.
Van Huot all away cleanly, and up in the centre first is Benoit Huot of Canada. Expect him to really just hold ground on this butterfly leg. Comes into his own as the strokes change from backstroke to breaststroke, and then of course onto freestyle to bring it home. But into the wall first will be Dubrov.
Well, Benoit Huot does not want to be too far down on Denis Dubrov when he comes in to the freestyle line. Dubrov, a very strong freestyler. We may see things change about slightly as we go through the strokes. Olivier van der Voort from the Netherlands, the 100 metres backstroke world record holder, and he's coming through in lane number 3. Rick Pendleton, the yellow cap of Australia, watch out for him on the breaststroke leg. But it looks like Benoit Huot and Denis Dubrov are together there as they go through the halfway stage. It is Huot in 101.48. Olivier van der Voort, in fact, in second, 101.88, and Dubrov in third, 102.19. What a battle is shaping up here on the breaststroke leg.
Well, Huot was absolutely brilliant in the rotation from the backstroke to the breaststroke, but it is Dubrov that is bringing this breaststroke to the Canadian and taking it past him. These S10 swimmers are very, very minimal disability, virtually nothing stopping them. And it's well, it wasn't a great turn. He finished on the three-quarter extension, but he has got Benoit Huot right where he wants him now, and we're going to have to see something amazing from Benoit if he is going to bring this back to defend his world title. But he looks to be making a move now on Dubrov as they come into the final 25 metres, and he's overhauling him into the final 15, Paul.
Well, Dubrov is hanging on here. The black cap of Denis Dubrov. Here comes Benoit Huot. I don't think he's going to have enough, though. It is Denis Dubrov who's just got enough to hold off Benoit Huot. The time is 2:11.94. It's a European record for Denis Dubrov of Ukraine, but Benoit Huot, he'll be disappointed with that one. He just couldn't quite get back on level terms with Denis Dubrov of Ukraine. 2:11.94. It's 2:12.50 for Benoit Huot, and the bronze medal goes to Vanzenko of Ukraine from lane number 7 there, who just sneaked in ahead of Olivier van der Voort from the Netherlands, who finishes in 4th position. But it was very tight coming down the last freestyle leg. Benoit Huot made the move, but Dubrov just seemed to have enough to hold on.
He left too much to do. And Dubrov, well, he didn't get the breaststroke to freestyle change right, but he got the finish right. And as he turned around to look at the scoreboard at the end, eyes absolutely popping wide.
Denis Dubrov takes the gold medal in a European record of 2:11.94. Benoit Huot, the 2nd position for Canada. Dmitry Vanzenko, bronze for Ukraine. The final of the women's 200 metres individual medley, SM10. Is next. We have 3 Netherlands swimmers taking the start in this one. There's Lisa Kruger. What a swim she had to make this final. Chantal Zedeveld, the breaststroke European champion, in lane 2. Bianca Papp goes in lane number 3. Sophie Pascoe, who can challenge the world record holder, in lane number 4. Maybe it's this young lady, Aurélie Rivard, already a champion in 50 freestyle. Olivia Jablonska, she will be strong in the butterfly leg. And Zheng Mang, well, that's not Zheng Mang in your picture there. That's Margie Oosterhuis from the Netherlands. Zhang Meng in lane number 7 from China. And Margie Oosterhuis from the Netherlands completes that lineup in lane number 8. There's Zhang Meng going in lane number 7 for China. Well, Sophie Pascoe was absolutely supreme here in the heats this morning. The great New Zealand champion. She was the champion here 12 months ago in the Commonwealth Games in this very event, but the heat time that she swam this morning was actually faster than she went in the Commonwealth Games last year. So in great shape, Sophie Pascoe. She may challenge her own world record tonight of 2:25.65. She's made a very good start. Aurélie Rivard of Canada will be 2nd as they finish the 50 butterfly.
Well, Sophie Pascoe does well to generate a very powerful double pulsing kick using just one leg on her butterfly, and you can see she's rolled over onto her backstroke, but still you wouldn't realize that there is an imbalance in the leg kick. It's still so fluid. There's real fluid motion, and the hands go into the water very, very cleanly. Little finger first, very little air around them. That enables the hands to lock into the water. And, well, she's making the best of the rest look very ordinary indeed as she moves now onto the breaststroke leg. And as the breaststroke legs come together, as I said earlier, the feet come together like the blades of a propeller, but the left foot pretty much works off the right foot. It's the balance that makes the kick work. Sophie Pascoe has an imbalanced leg kick, but she's so strong in her core that she manages to make that drive, make it work for her, and produces this very, very balanced breaststroke that we're seeing right here in the centre of our screens.
She is absolutely superb, Sophie Pascoe. She went through halfway at 1:06.66, around about a second down on the world record pace she set to win the Paralympic gold medal in London in 2012. She's now sitting on 150.76, still about a second outside world record pace, but it doesn't matter for Sophie Pascoe. Surely she's on her way to another gold medal for the New Zealand team. Aurélie Rivard in second, and in third place is Sang Meng from China. But here comes Sophie Pascoe, 25 metres to go for the great New Zealand swimmer. Sophie Pascoe with a black cap is going to get another gold medal for New Zealand. We'll keep an eye on the clock. 2:25.65. It was a superb performance from Pascoe, outside the world record, but a gold medal for Sophie Pascoe. 2:26.51. She takes it comfortably, 3.8 seconds ahead of Aurélie Rivard of Canada and Zhang Meng of China. An Asian record for the bronze medal position.
Well, championship record swim for Sophie Pascoe. You can see that one really hurt her. She put a lot into that, but she was just technically better, stronger, fitter than the rest of the competition.
Sophie Pascoe, she looks exhausted there. She looks up towards the scoreboard. She was around about a second off her world record pace right from the start. Actually, the butterfly was around about a second down on her pace from the London Paralympic Games, and she maintained the advantage as she went through the 200 metres individual medley. She is such a superb athlete, Sophie Pascoe, and she was a clear winner in that 200 IM. Sophie Pascoe takes the gold medal for New Zealand in a new championship record of 2:26.51. Rivard from Canada, silver, and Zhang from China, the bronze. Well, the medals for the SB7 100 metres breaststroke. For some British Gas presenting those medals along with Agnes Sheilak from IPC Swimming. We've seen some good youngsters, Giles, taking the medals today. We've seen another one here tonight in this classification, Simon Boer from the Netherlands. Just a young man himself, a bronze medalist. Another medal for the Netherlands team. They're doing really well.
Lots and lots of quality in the Dutch team. And it's always really interesting, isn't it? Whenever in any Paralympic sport class, if it feels like it's been the same for quite some time, well, it will suddenly step up a gear, and we have seen that time and time and time again on these world championships, and we're only on day 2.
Clay Cochrane, the man, set a new world record earlier this year. He came into this event as hot favourite for this one, an event he's dominated over the past few years. He didn't account for this young man from Colombia. Carlos Serrano Zarate is the world champion. The 16-year-old from Colombia. I don't think he can quite believe it. He doesn't really know what to do, but he knows that he likes it.
Well, we don't get too often near the Colombian national anthem, so I'm going to enjoy this one. Not that I don't enjoy them all, but it's a new one.
Well, let's see. Let's enjoy, let's all enjoy the Colombian national anthem. Well, you might have to get used to that in the years to come, Giles.
It's quite a good one, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, remember that. Look at the difference in stature between the medalists. That is fantastic.
Well, breaststroke is a stroke. In swimming, height is often an advantage, but in breaststroke, not always so. Body's got a tip like it's on a seesaw, shorter seesaw, tips easier. There he is, massive smile, thumbs up.
It has to be said that Simon Brewer has 2 artificial legs, so
This is true.
that's a little bit of an advantage. He's standing up, towering above the gold medalist, but a superb performance from the 16-year-old. Hopefully we'll get more tweets from Colombia. Looking forward to that one. They have done really well today. 2 medals for the Colombian team.
The winner of the bronze medal, representing Ukraine.
Move on to the women's medals in the SB7 class. Oksana Krul, she won a close contest for the bronze medal there. Tesh Rutleff from Canada just missing out by 0.3 of a second, but Oksana Krul, again, a real kind of contrast in styles in that breaststroke. Oksana Krul with no propulsion from a very thin arm. She holds them out in front of her. You can see that on the butterfly. Very efficient technique she has on the butterfly with the use of her legs and her hips. Oksana Krul next to 2 swimmers with very similar disabilities, almost identical disabilities. Lisa Den Braber, another medal for the Netherlands. And she's chasing the young lady I'm sure she has looked up to for many years. And that's Jessica Long from the USA. Another gold medal for Long. Another World Championship gold for her. That's 2 at these championships. And I'm sure she has a number to her name. She must be one of the most decorated athletes at a World Championships ever.
Ladies and gentlemen, please show your respect for the national anthem of the United States of America. Applause for your medal winner.
Well, your namesake Giles takes another gold medal. Any relation?
No, no relation at all. But, well, I was lucky to have a good swimming career myself, but nothing in comparison to Jessica Long, who is...
Something's happened there. Having a good chuckle there. Top of the medal podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now bring you the victory ceremony for the women's 100 metres freestyle S3 final.
Our medal ceremony. Remember, keep your tweets coming in. Giles is keeping an eye on the Twitter feed, hashtag Glasgow 2015 at IPC Swimming too. Sure, we'll get some tweets from the Dutch here. 3 medal presentations and 3 Dutch medalists. There's Gabdalina of Kazakhstan. Again, medal for Kazakhstani swimmer. He was the first medalist for Kazakhstan at the World Championships, IPC World Championships. Enjoying that. Tolly, the Highland coup.
Olga
Swiderska. She was the world record holder prior to that final. 37.58 was the record mark. She had to settle for silver today, because she was beaten by the Dutch swimmer Lisette Teunissen in the orange tracksuit of the Netherlands. She claims the gold medal in a world record time. 1:37.18 for Lisette Teunissen. Fantastic performance from the Dutch swimmer.
Ladies and gentlemen, please show your respect to the national anthem of the Netherlands.
Dutch fans enjoying that. Lisette Teunissen, world champion, the new world record holder in the women's 100 freestyle for the S3 class. We're about to move on to more events now. Men's 100 breaststroke SB8 final. That's the next event we are looking forward to. Can anyone challenge Andrei Kalina from Russia? He has absolutely dominated this event over the past few years. The only title that he hasn't won in this event was last year's European Championships, and that was because he didn't take part in the championships. So unbeaten for a decade, Andrei Kalina. Tim van Duren, Netherlands swimmer, in the final. The man who won the European title, Federico Morlacchi from Italy in second. Andreas Onea, big hope for a medal for Austria tonight. Andrei Kalina, can anyone beat Kalina? It's going to be tough to beat, Giles.
Oh, he's absolutely sensational, but if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be this one. Salguero, Galisteo. Very, very impressive in the heats indeed. Just 0.7 of a second behind Kalina, and people don't usually get that close to him. Diskin, Timothy Diskin of Australia in lane number 7. Did well in the heats, 1:16.48 to get here. Yevgeny Zimin. Here in the centre. His lucky chain on.
Big improvement from the heats. Salguero Galisteo from Spain. There is
Take
chain
your marks.
around the neck of the world record holder, Andrei Kalina. Set that world record back in 2008 in Beijing, 107.01, and he is off to a blistering start, the world record holder.
Well, Herendeen in lane 6 of the USA was probably best out of the blocks, but it's already Kalina who is taking this race to the rest of the field. As you can see there, as his stump arm goes through the water quicker than his full arm, he comes up almost kind of crunched up, slightly lopsided, but in rotation, very, very good round the wall, uses his good arm to spin himself round there. You can see that lopsided scrunch. He's got to watch out for that. You've got to be symmetrical in breaststroke. That's what the rules say. But there's a fantastic swapping in the chain of power between the arms and the legs. And really, it's a scrap for silver now, Paul.
It's Kalina against the clock now. Can this long-standing world record go? It's 107.01. It's going to be very close. Kalina is stretching away to a gold medal performance and just outside the world record in 107.38. It's silver for Glasgow of Spain in 110.82. And it is a medal for Austria, 112.34 for Andreas Onay for the bronze medal position ahead of Morlacki. But Andre Kalina, there was no one to touch the man, the world record holder. He almost took that time, but not quite. He won't worry about that one. Andreas Onay, very delighted there. Thomas Rosenberger, his coach, was up here yesterday saying, watch out for my man tomorrow. Big chance for a medal. And he's delivered.
Well, here you can see, without having the forearm and the hand on the end of it, that stump arm spins through the water quicker. And you can see it returns to the centre line slightly in front of the full arm. And that causes him to bunch himself up and skew. But wow, skips over the lane rope there.
Great performance by Andre Kalina to take the gold medal in 107.38. Silver for Spain in Glasgow and bronze to Austria, Andreas Onay. The final of the women's 100 metres breaststroke in the SB8 class. Well, this, Giles, could be a very interesting race indeed. We saw some good performances from the swimmers in the centre lanes today, but we also saw some people...
Saw a lot of games, didn't we?
Were just holding back, maybe looking for an outside lane, especially the world record holder, Adikina from Russia. Kuznetsova goes in 1, Nikita Howard in 2. Katarina Roxon from Canada had a good swim in lane number 3. Claire Cashmore, the European champion from Great Britain, goes in lane number 4, the fastest qualifier into this final. Ellen Keane had an excellent swim, the Irish swimmer, in lane number 5. And Paulina Wozniak from Poland, she had a good swim today too. She could challenge for the medals, but watch out for the world record holder Alicia Vladikina. She took it extremely easy in the heats this morning. Laura Martins Christensen completes the lineup for Denmark in lane 8. But this, Giles, should be very interesting indeed.
Well, it should indeed. Just out of your shot there, Claire Cashmore was rubbing the surface of the block with her hand to take the top layer of skin off the palm of her hand, give a better feel of the water. Well, it's a poor reaction time from Vladikina, but she makes up for it underwater and takes almost a full body length out of the rest of the field. Claire Cashmore, that high revving breaststroke in the centre lanes, but also just on the other side of Vladikina in the red hat, Wozniak of Poland going well. But Vladikina, long-ranging, stretching breaststroke, real kind of glide to it, more like a 200 breaststroke, Paul.
Yeah, Vladikina absolutely smooth as silk. We saw last year in the European Championships, Vladikina go out to this sort of lead. Claire Cashmore pulled her back. They shared the European title. A dead heat between Vladikina and Claire Cashmore, and Cashmore in the blue cap of Great Britain coming back, but I'm not sure if she's going to have enough to catch Vladikina in the pink cap there. The Russian in lane number 7 is now starting to go away from the rest of the field. It looks like Cashmore is getting in for silver ahead of Katerina Roxon and Wozniak, but it's going to be gold to Vladikina. What a swim here. It's just outside the world record. It's a championship record for Vladikina. Cashmore is in for the silver medal and Katerina Roxon for the bronze medal position for Canada. But Vladikina blows the kisses to the camera. She is the champion yet again, and an excellent performance, an excellent time, just 0.3 of a second outside her own world record mark.
Well, there's Claire Cashmore. She really wanted to win this. She has been ever so slightly quicker. Could have done with that. There's Roxon, but all smiles from the lady who just demolished the rest of the field. There you can see Vladikina slow on the reaction, but much, much more powerful start. That helped her underwater no end. As we saw with the men's race, that bunching up as the stump arm comes round and the arms shoot forward.
She's delighted with that time. Alicia Vladikina takes the gold medal for the women's 100 breaststroke SBA. Cashmore the silver, Katerina Roxon the bronze. The finalists for the men's 50 metres freestyle S4. I'll move up to the scoreboard end of the pool for the men's S4. 50 metres freestyle, one length of the pool. Sedanov goes in 1 for Russia. This is moving down the classification, numerical classifications again. Giles Uribe Wasi in lane number 2, next to his very experienced rival David Smetanine of France. He impressed me today. Very fast heat swim under the 42nd mark. Paralympic champion Mustafayev from Russia in lane number 4. He'll be the favourite for this one, but watch out for this man, Joe Gaisson, the gold medalist yesterday in the 200 freestyle. What can he do? And what can Gustavo Sanchez Martinez do? Medalist yesterday also in the 200. Jan Povisil from the Czech Republic goes in lane 7. And Darko Duric from Slovenia in lane number 8. Darko Duric, medalist at the last World Championships in Montreal. A longer distance. But Mustafayev is the reigning Paralympic champion. He's the reigning world champion. But this young man, Joe Gaisson from Korea, well, surprised everyone in the 200 freestyle last night. The 19-year-old challenging the old guard here in this S4 classification. One length of the pool. 50 metres freestyle S4. A range of starts being employed in this one, Giles.
Look at that freestyle in the centre lane there, lane number 4, Mustaev. Not able to place his hands, not able to pierce the surface of the water, really kind of lays them flat on the surface. But the sheer stroke turnover is generating good speed. Also going well, Roman Zdanov in lane number 1. But this is only going one way, Paul.
It is Mustafayev. It's pulling away in the closing stages. It's going to be gold to Russia. Mustafayev will take that one, 38.17. Joe Gaisson wins another medal for Korea, 38.42 for the silver. And the bronze medal, it does go to France. David Smetanine came up strongly in the closing stages there. And it is a medal for the veteran French swimmer Smetanine.
Well, David Smetanine, Paralympic gold medalist in his younger years.
It's Mustafayev. You said, Giles, it was all about turnover there in the sprint. He's breathing every stroke as he comes into the end there, really toiling, struggling for breath.
Spidery, scrabbly stroke he's got, hasn't he? But he does well to kind of keep his body position high. Could do with breathing less, as you say. That would definitely help him swim even quicker.
It was a good performance. It was good enough for gold, 38.17. It's half a second outside the world record held by Hanada of Japan. And Jogi Songmil, he did challenge in the early stages, but couldn't quite hold on to the speed and the power of Mustafayev. And David Smetany, man, came through very strongly in the closing stages. We thought Roman Zdanov was going to take the bronze, but Smetany will take the bronze medal for France. Smetany takes the bronze for France. Jogi Song the silver for Korea, but the gold to Alexander Mustafayev of Russia. The finalists for the women's 50 meters freestyle S4 classification. Now the final swimming action of the evening. It's another one of these combined events, Giles. We have swimmers in the S3 and the S4 classifications. Tammy Cunnington from Canada in lane number 1. Nia Garcia from Brazil in 2. Gabardolina back in the water again. We saw her winning a medal in the S3 event earlier. She'll be challenging for the medals here, but here is Nelly Miranda Herrera, world record holder. Can she be challenged by this young lady, Ariola Trimi? Oh, great technician, the Italian swimmer. Fina, she was hoping to challenge for the medals in lane number 6. Verbova in lane number 7. And in lane number 8. Singapore swimmer, Yip Hin Yu, one of the S3 swimmers in this final. 2 S3s in this final. That's the other one, Gabardolina. Gabardolina may well challenge for the gold against the S4s. There's Nelly Miranda Herrera, world record holder, looked good in the heat. She was only 0.3 of a second ahead of Ariola Trimi of Italy. Trimi, a great technician, as we said, Giles. We love watching her swim freestyle. Maybe 50 metres might just be a little too short. We'll see how this race pans out. Keep an eye on the centre lanes for this final women's 50 freestyle S4.
Well, all starting in the water. Yeah, as you pointed out, Paul, there with the black hat of Italy, you can see that superb technique, but it probably isn't going to be enough, because this race much more about power, and Miranda Herrera taking the lead out. You can see just much more muscular in the shoulders. The hands go in, they're going quite flat, quite flat-handed. But she manages to really get away with the freestyle because of that high turnover.
And here she comes. Let's watch the clock. 40.34 was the record, and that is inside the record. It's 40.08 for Nelly Miranda Herrera. It's a world record to finish the swimming action tonight, and it's world record for the Mexican. Nelly Miranda Herrera takes the gold medal, and that was a sensational swim. 40.08, just taking 0.3 of a second off her own mark that she set just last month. Ariola Trimi takes the silver, 41.69, a European record for the Italian, and it's Gabardolina on the medal podium again in the bronze medal position for Kazakhstan. But it was all about power there, Giles. There's Gabardolina. She'll be pleased with another medal for the Kazakhstani swimmer. Nelly Miranda Herrera, world record tumble there in that final event.
Yep, she was the holder of that. Set it in Colorado Springs earlier this year. Well, and you can see as the hands come over, they very, very flat-handed. They flat before they even go through the surface of the water. That pulls a lot of air in, especially around that right hand. It's almost like the hands are kind of spinning through the water rather than locking into it. But she gets the finish right. She keeps a good body position, which is quite difficult for these S4 swimmers. And comes away with the world record.
Nelly Miranda Herrera wins the gold in the women's 50 freestyle S4. Trimi from Italy, the silver medalist, and Gabadulina, Kazakhstan, the bronze. Well, this is one of the events that we saw earlier on tonight. It was scheduled for the medal presentation. Earlier in the evening, we did have a protest against the disqualification. I don't think that has affected the result, and we are now able to move to the medal presentation.
By Chairperson IPC Swimming Sport Technical Committee, J.D. Glenn.
It should be at least half an hour between the protest period and the presentation of the medals. Tim Reddish, who you and I know well, making these medal presentations, Giles.
The president of the British Paralympic Association, Paralympian in his own time. S11 swimmer.
Yeah, our old teammate back in the day. It's gone up in the world, obviously. They don't ask us to present medals, do they, Giles?
They do not. They do not.
Leo Castello Ferri from Spain, bronze medalist, looking delighted with that one. Lovely smile there from Julia.
The winner of the silver medal, representing Vietnam,
And here is the first Vietnamese medalist at an IPC World Swimming Championships. It's Tai Vish Nhu Trinh. Well, that's my version of my Vietnamese pronunciation. 157.43, a great effort from the Vietnamese swimmer. Silver medalist here, surely more than she could have hoped for. But the German team continue their run of success in this event. Kirsten Brun dominated the SB5 classification for a decade or more. She retired last year. Her place at the top of the medal podium has been taken by her teammate Verena Schott. The Germans will be absolutely delighted with that gold medal.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal winner.
Lovely pictures here in Glasgow. A few more medal presentations before we finish this evening. Any more final tweets, Giles?
Big congratulations into Mary Fisher for her second medal from Attitude TV. They're our partners over there covering the championships. Massive congratulations to Claire Cashmore at Glasgow 2015 from Louise Beard. Much more news from at IPC Swimming, the official Twitter feed of these championships. They're sat next to us. Keep the tweets coming in. Hashtag Glasgow 2015. Hope you're enjoying the coverage. Well, interesting medal ceremony coming up right now, Paul.
Very interesting indeed. We gave you the result of the men's 400 freestyle S11, and on the result that came to us, Bradley Schneider was disqualified. He has been reinstated and takes his place on the medal podium. Taron Drake, his US teammate, in the bronze medal position. US team, and Taron Drake. Tim Reddish, an S11 swimmer himself, presenting the medals to the S11 winners here. Taron Drake, young man from the USA, taking that bronze medal. Silver medalist, and for a brief moment may have thought he would be the gold medalist. He's had an excellent championship so far in these first 2 days. 2 medals to his name already. Matheus Sousa from Brazil, 22-year-old, takes that silver medal. The gold medalist Bradley Schneider. Well, you had a theory about why he was disqualified and potentially reinstated, Joe.
Well, he got confused, didn't he, and went into the turn early, about 3 meters away from the wall, and part of that was his hand. And there he is receiving his gold medal, and rightly so, because he turned early and lost his huge lead, but it didn't take him long to build it back up. But I wonder if he'd initially been disqualified. He got his hand jammed into the lane rope. He turned early, he backed himself into the wall. Now, he could have been disqualified for pulling on the lane rope. Now, in actual fairness, he sort of found himself, sculled himself backwards towards the wall. And I wonder if that's been the basis of the appeal that's put him back in. We'll try and find out more about that and see if we can get it to you.
He was definitely the class swimmer of the field, that's for sure. And he wins the gold medal. Well,
that's quite touching, that. Reaching out to find one another for the victory photo. Normally so reliant on guides to help them around poolside.
great pictures there. The 2 USA swimmers enjoy being on the medal podium together there. It was a quality swim from Bradley Schneider. And he takes away his gold medal, his second gold medal of these championships here in Glasgow. Well, still more medal presentations.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now
Got another message here on Facebook from
S11 final.
Tilda Hoefsel, the wife of Jurgen Engelsman, great Dutch swimmer that swam in the Paralympics like in Atlanta and Sydney. Jurgen Engelsman watching the coverage here. I'm pleased how the Dutch team are doing. I've seen a number of Dutch medalists tonight. Not in this one though, because we have Li Guzi from China. This is the women's version of the S11 400 freestyle. Li Guzi, 5:43.98 for the bronze medal position. Mary Fisher, another medal for the New Zealander. Silver medal this time. Always knew she'd be up against it, against the world record holder in this one. She'll be quite satisfied with the silver medal on this occasion. Same position as she finished in the Montreal Championships 2 years ago. Daniela Schulte, she's in the same position too. And that is the gold medal position. Winning that race in 5:20.46. And just really swam away from the rest of the field, Giles. Real display of straight swimming from the S11 swimmer in the centre of the lane most of the way down that 400.
Yeah, it really was a well executed race. Very, very well drilled. I think there was possibly just one mistake, which was where the tap came a little bit too late. She had to perform a grab turn instead of a tumble turn. But it didn't matter.
Well done, Daniela Schulte. Getting some assistance there into the centre of that podium. Still a number of medal presentations. We finish tonight. Some great races we have seen. Let's try and have a look at the records and medals that have been won tonight. Great night for Ukraine. And surely will be at the top of the medal table. We'll try and bring you the latest standings before we finish this evening. And Zenko from Ukraine, well, he was in lane number 7 to qualify for the final. came through into 3rd position overall. Van Zenkel 2:14.00.
The winner of the silver, representing Canada, Benoit Huot.
Benoit Huot, well, you'll be disappointed, I think, with the silver medal. He came here looking for gold. Has been the champion in this event for a very, very long time indeed. Had his first World Championship appearance back in 1998 in the New Zealand Championships. Still here, still on the medal podium, not on the top at this point though, because that place is for Denis Dubrov, Ukraine. He swam a good race, just got ahead of Benoit Huot on the breaststroke leg, and held on to that advantage when they went onto the freestyle.
Well, Dubrov was very powerful on the butterfly, as you say, Paul. Very, very impressive. And finished with his eyes so wide, because he just, I don't think he could believe that he'd managed to beat the great Canadian.
Ladies and gentlemen, please show your respect to the national anthem of Ukraine. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal winner.
Denis Dubrov, gold medalist in the men's 200 individual medley, SM10. We said Ukraine very strong in the lower numerical classifications. They're right through the classification spectrum there. The S10 medalists as well, very strong in the visually impaired classes too.
Have a very good talent ID system indeed. Lots of money available in the Ukraine for gold medals at Parasport. They often share that between athlete and coach, and that really, unsurprisingly, driving coaches to seek out the very best para swimmers throughout the whole of the Ukraine.
The winner of the bronze medal, representing the People's Republic of China, Zhang Hei. Winner of the silver medal, representing Canada, Aurélie Rivard.
Aurélie Rivard of Canada. It was a good performance from her. Very, very close to her best indeed. Time of 2:30.35. Big cheer to the Canadian fans here. The rest of her teammates also.
The winner
But this lady was absolutely unstoppable. Sophie Pascoe from Christchurch in New Zealand. A pool that she trains in, built for the Commonwealth Games back in the 80s, heavily damaged in the earthquake that they experienced in the mid-2000s. Really upset her training program, but still an absolute class act every time she dives into the water.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal winners.
Well done, Sophie Pascoe. Was there ever any doubt that she would take the title here in the 200 metres individual medley? She still had to go and do it though, and she did an excellent job taking that title. Just second outside of her own world record mark set in the Paralympic Games in London, a new championship record for the New Zealander.
The victory ceremony for the men's 100 metres breaststroke SPA final.
Just as Sophie Pascoe dominated that 200 IM, this man in the centre, Andre Kalina, dominated this one, but here is Andreas One. He said we had insider knowledge last night. Thomas Rosenberger came up here, he said, watch the breaststrokers tomorrow. Austria are going to get a medal tomorrow. And this man did the job for him. Fantastic, Andreas One. That means a lot to him.
The winner of the silver, representing Spain, Oscar Salguero Galisteo.
Oscar Salguero Galisteo. Another good swim by this young man, 17 years of age. Big improvement on his time. It was a 1:14 coming into this, 1:11 in the heats, 1:10 in the final. You cannot ask for much more than that.
Very good progression indeed through the stages of this. We'll be talking about him for a long time to come. But this Andre Kalina of Russia used to compete for Ukraine. He's from the Crimea, subsequently switched to swim for Russia. Awarded by Tim Reddish, and Jane Blaine hands over Tolly the cow.
Ladies and gentlemen, please show your respect for the national anthem, Russian Federation. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal winners.
Kalina was very often the man who made the difference in the relay team, certainly in the medley relay for Ukraine, and that's going to make the Russian team extremely strong. I'm sure Kalina will have a place in that Russian 4x100 medley team.
Always depends on how the points play out. I imagine he'll be pushing another member of the Russian team out of that relay, possibly two members, as they try to make the points fit.
It's always good, the relay, it's always good, the team selections, how things work out. Medalists for the women's SB8 100 meters breaststroke.
The winner of the bronze medal, representing Canada, Katarina Roxon.
Katarina Roxon from Canada. Big beaming smile over her face, the Canadian swimmer. 121.97, a new record for the Americas region. Big improvement, another swimmer. We've shown big improvements here at these championships. A great event in our home World Championships in Montreal 2 years ago. Continues that great form here in Glasgow. Claire Cashmore, silver medal again for Cashmore in the 100 breaststroke. 121.15 for Claire Cashmore. She hoped for gold. She has to be content with silver on this occasion.
The winner of the gold medal and world champion, representing the Russian Federation.
The world record holder was absolutely superb in that final. Alicia Vladikina from Russia, 117.47, just 0.3 of a second outside her own world record mark. That was an outstanding performance by the Russian.
Ladies and gentlemen, please show your respect for the national anthem of the Russian Federation. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal winners.
Vladikina takes the gold in the 100 breaststroke SB8 yet again. Claire Cashmore, the runner-up, silver medalist. And a delighted Katarina Roxon with the bronze. I think Vladikina is pretty happy with that.
I think so. I think so. Lots of kisses, as ever, being blown to the crowd. Poor old Claire Cashmore wanted more from that race. Have to wait another year.
We are moving to the women's 50 metres freestyle presentation. We won't have a presentation for the men's 50 metres freestyle. There has been a protest, so that has been carried over until tomorrow. So this will be the final presentation of this evening.
Representing Kazakhstan, Zulfiye Kapitulina.
Magdalena taking another medal tonight. That's 2 bronze medals.
The winner of the silver medal, representing
2 tollies for the Kazakhstan swimmer. Ariola Trimi. You do like her technique, Ariola Trimi. That 50 freestyle just a little bit too short for her. And watch out in the 100 and in the 200 also. Ariola Trimi. See her as the week progresses. Italian team had a good first couple of days here, picked up a few medals.
The winner of the gold medal and world champion
But it was
in a world record time.
sensational swim by Nelly Miranda Herrera. Fantastic swim there of 40.08. World record just set over a month ago in the USA at 40.34. It's now down at 40.08. Surely it will not be too long before the record stands at under the 40-second mark. Very pleased to win that one. Ali Miranda Herrera.
Ladies and gentlemen,
And for the first time at these championships, we'll hear the national anthem of Mexico.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your medal winners, and thank you to your medal presentation party.
I like the Mexican national anthem, Giles.
It's very, very jolly. Very jolly, uplifting, everything that a national anthem should be. It really was a great performance from Miranda Herrera.
There are your medalists, the final medal presentation of the evening. We've had a few good performances tonight, Giles. A few records to celebrate. We have that world record in that very final event there for the Miranda Herrera. It's been a good night for certain countries. We've heard the Ukrainian national anthem and the Russian national anthem on a number of occasions. Here we have the medal standings after day 2, and it is Russia and Ukraine at the top of the medal table with 7 golds apiece. The USA close behind with 6 golds, and Australia in 4th position so far with 4 gold medals. Great Britain, the host nation, down in 17th place at the moment. No golds to celebrate as yet. 7 silvers and 2 bronze so far for the host nation. Well, that is the final action from here at Tollcross International Swimming Centre here in Glasgow. We will see you tomorrow morning for the heats at 10 AM local time. Have a very good night.